is swung on and hit in the air to right field deep. And you can't forget about this one. Blaze Salter hits number 5, and the Newport Gulls retake the lead.
This is the Newport Gulls pregame show, live from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island.
Gone! A grand slam! Drew Luckbauer, right tower power, and the Gulls walk off in the 15th inning!
Coming up, interviews, stats, standings, lineups, and a whole lot more.
Tomas steps to the back for 1 out, throws to first, and it is in time, a double play.
Pitch, breaking ball lifted deep to center field, and it is gone! A 2-run shot for Cody Hosey.
A high drive, left field deep. Bolzano going back, looking up. This ball is a 2-run homer. T.J. Jones hits it out.
Stay tuned. The pregame show begins now on the NECBL Broadcast Network. In his first season covering Newport Gulls baseball, here's play-by-play broadcaster Stephen Huff.
It's been a week since the Gulls have been in Newport, but they're finally back in town. How you doing, everybody? Stephen Huff here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. The Gulls fresh off a win here against Ocean State. They won 12-7, highlighted by the player of the game last night, Joey Bellini, who went 2 for 5 in his Newport debut, highlighted by a double and a home run and 3 runs scored. On the other end, they'll be hosting Danbury Westerners, who are still undefeated in the young NECBL season. They are 4-0. Fresh off a 3-2 victory over Vermont. First pitch tonight at Cardines is set for 6:35 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. The Gulls pregame show starts right now. Welcome back to the Gulls pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. It's time for the Broadcasters Roundtable. Stephen Huff joined alongside Nick Bello, the Gulls field reporter, on my left, and Jacob Kronberg, the voice of the Danbury Westerners, on my right. Nick, we'll start with you. Gulls fresh off a 12-7 victory over Ocean State last night. What did you see from them that you liked last night?
Well, the fact that the bats came alive was really definitely a positive trend, and the bats have been alive really all weekend for the Gulls. It's definitely something good, and the pitching was really consistent. It hasn't been consistent since the first game, so you really like to see the consistency in the pitching and the bats coming alive finally.
You talked about pitching being consistent since the first game. Obviously, Newport back in town for the first time since the first game. What have you seen from this team as the season's progressed for the first week of the season?
Well, the pitching hasn't changed much. They've gone with their aces. They've had a lot of success in the pitching department, and now that the fact that the bats are coming alive, this is the team that can really do some damage here moving on towards as the season progresses.
It's starting to look like a dangerous team. Of course, the team that has been dangerous all year is Danbury, 4-0 to this point. Talk to us about their success so far, especially coming in that last game against Vermont.
Well, what's been going great for the Westerners right now has been their offense. The offense is clicking on all cylinders. They've scored 10 runs in a game already, 9 runs in a game, and they were even able to squeak out a win against Vermont 3-2 last time out with some not so stellar pitching performances. They've been good up to down, but today they're actually mixing up the lineup a little bit, going with a bit of a sabermetrics approach into this game against the Gulls.
Talk to us about the pitcher starting on the mound for you guys tonight.
Today we've got the big lefty Justin Campbell, the Tulane Green Wave, great mascot, by the way, the Green Wave, 6'5", big lefty arm slot, and he was effective. He pitched in the opener against the Ocean State Waves, threw 2 1/3, got a strikeout, no runs, no hits. Today he's getting his first start, but what's something really cool about Justin Campbell is he pitches from 2 different arm slots. He doesn't throw as hard as you'd expect for someone of his stature, but he throws over the top, and he's got a little bit of a sidearm delivery as well. But you've seen that for kids before, and sometimes fastball over the top, curveball from the side. He throws all of his pitches from both arm slots, which makes him so dangerous on the mound.
Well, should be a good matchup in store. First pitch coming up at 6:35. The Gulls pregame show continues next here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Nick Bello here with Colton Bender. Now, Colton, you had a great game this weekend against New Bedford. A lot of great plays in the field, as well as a couple of great plays at the plate. What was working for you? Describe that game for us.
Well, to be honest, I came in calm and collected, and I was just playing my game defensively, offensively. Trying to put the bat on the ball and throw runners out when I could, and it all fell into place.
And so you played in Quinnipiac for college. So what was that like being on the first 30 30-win team in history and having that Cinderella run in the NCAAs?
Well, to be honest, man, there was nothing like it. It was, like you said, it was our first 30 win, and our coach deserves all of it, and so do the players. We worked very hard for it, and coming in next year, hopefully we can do the same thing and make even better run as we did this year. And we had a lot of success, and it was a good year.
And so what do you expect this Newport team can do this summer here in Newport?
Well, to be honest, I think we have a very special team, and we got a lot of talented talented guys on the team that can do a lot, produce, hit home runs, fast, quick. A lot of guys who can pick it, and this is probably one of the most talented teams I've been on in my career so far. Just being here for the first couple of days, and it's going to be a good summer.
And so you've been here for a couple of weeks now here in Newport. What have you done? What have you liked? What do you not like? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, to be honest, man, there's nothing I don't like. Everything's great here. And we went to the beach, had a good time, did some fishing, checked out the mansions, had some dinner. It's a great spot to play and a great spot to hang out. And the guys are great here, and I love it.
Which mansion did you go to, by the way?
What'd you say?
Which mansion?
The mansion? Oh, I saw all of them down at the north end or something, wherever it is. It's pretty sick, though, all of it. So.
Well, thank you, Colin. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
And the pregame show continues next on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
We're back here with the NECBL pregame show. I'm here with Gulls pitcher Mike Sansone. I'm Zach Letson, and Sansone, you pitched 2 innings last night, 5 strikeouts, and the Gulls 12-7 win over the Ocean State Waves. What do you think were some of the keys? How are you feeling out there last night?
I was feeling pretty good. I just tried to keep consistent, throw strikes, and get in and out so our guys can keep hitting.
Transitioning into Newport, how's your first week or so been here with the Gulls?
It's been a really good transition. I'm really liking the team and the environment. Guys are a lot of fun. I threw first game at this stadium, a lot of fans, so that was a lot of fun too.
Well, 4 games into the season, have you noticed any big challenges you think this team's going to have to work through, and as the season has started here?
I think the biggest thing for us was those first 2 games, just adjusting to being here as a team. In college we're using metal bats, and the guys here are using wood. So I think that's probably the biggest adjustment for our hitters.
And in terms of the city of Newport, have you enjoyed the city itself so far as well?
I have. I've been here a few times, so it's a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to the summer.
That concludes the interview. Now we'll continue with the rest of the pregame show here on the NECBL network.
It's time for the manager show here on the Gulls pregame show. I'm joined alongside the Gulls manager, Kevin Winterode. And, Coach, the team started the season 0-2. Now they've won 2 in a row. They're starting to heat up a little bit. That has to feel good.
Yeah, it's really early, and the consistency's not there yet. But we like where we're at right now. We're starting to get all our kids in, and we have some depth and things like that. So hopefully we get more consistent each game out.
You're saying the consistency's not there, but what are you seeing from the team that you like over the past 2 games and over the past whole week from the season?
Well, I think we've pitched pretty well all year. I mean, we've given ourselves a chance in most games to win, and the hitting is always behind. And I've seen, step-by-step improvement each game, and if we continue to do that, we're going to be fine.
You're implementing some of the new guys in the lineup. Now you're back at Newport for the 2nd time only this year. Some of these guys haven't seen the field yet. What are some of the things you're telling them, challenges with the field? How do you approach this field?
Well, usually we don't get too far into that because, oftentimes if you make something bigger than it is, then it becomes a locked and loaded excuse. Wherever they throw us out there on the field, we just kind of play it. The biggest challenge, quite frankly, is sitting right next to the other team only 5 feet apart.
Of course, you know about some of the challenges with field, being the coach at Keene for a while, so I understand that completely. Now on the mound tonight for you guys is Art Hoven. He pitched the opener, was an excellent performance, 8 strikeouts through 4 innings. What can fans expect more from him tonight?
Well, I think Art is probably our most electric left-handed guy. What I'd like to see from Art today is just more consistency, a few less walks and challenging people up in the zone because his stuff's good enough to get people out.
All right, good luck tonight, Coach. He's Kevin Winterode. I'm Stephen Huff. First pitch coming up next here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Once again, here's Stephen Huff and the Newport Gulls broadcast team.
The Gulls are back in Newport for tonight's matchup against the Danbury Westerners after a week-long road trip that included trips to Keene, New Bedford, and South Kingstown. How you doing, everybody? I'm Stephen Huff in my first year broadcasting for the Newport Gulls, joined alongside Jacob Kronberg, the voice of the Danbury Westerners, and, of course, Nick Bello, the field reporter for the Newport Gulls. Thank you both for joining me. Newport coming into this one 2-2 in the midst of a 2-game win streak, fresh off a 12-7 victory over the Ocean State Waves last night. We'll get to that in a minute. On the other side of things, Danbury coming into this one still undefeated, Jacob. 4-0 on this young season off of Vermont victory, 3-2 in that one. We'll also get to that victory in just a moment. Last night for the Gulls, they jumped ahead early against Ocean State, 7-0 through 2 innings. On the mound was Dylan Brown, and he threw 2 excellent early innings until he got dinged up a little bit in the third. Following him on the mound was Patrick Maybach and then Michael Sansone, who ended up relieving and pitching 2 innings to close out the game with 5 strikeouts. Hitting-wise for Newport was a phenomenal game, but we'll get to that in a moment. We're going to throw it down to the field for the national anthem.
To give a blessing of the team and game is Reverend Dr. Paul Hoffman of Evangelical Friends Church on Bliss Ride Road in Middletown. Let's pray together. Please join me in prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we praise you for this glorious day. We thank you for the wonderful gift of baseball. We're grateful for these 2 teams, our Newport Gulls and the Danbury Westerners. We ask you to grant them a safe, fun, and competitive game. Please give your guidance and your strength to the coaches, the support staff, and everyone who works or volunteers at the one and only Cardines Field. We earnestly pray that you empower the fans to be passionate yet respectful. Lastly, on Middletown Day, we ask you to bless our special town, which was incorporated back in 1743. May it be a place of growth and flourishing, a beacon of bright light for all visitors, guests, residents, or any person that passes through. We pray these things in the awesome name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Here to perform tonight's national anthem, under the direction of Jen Valancourt, is the Middletown High School Chorus.
Tonight's national anthem was sung by Middletown High School Chorus. And we'd like to also thank the Honor Guard from tonight, Middletown Police Department and Middletown Fire Department. Of course, here tonight at Cardines Field, it is the Town of Middletown night, where the first 250 fans in Cardines get aluminum water bottles courtesy of Town of Middletown. Again, Stephen Huff alongside Jacob Kronberg, the voice of the Danbury Westerners, and Nick Bello, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls. But going over Newport's win last night over the Ocean State Waves, it was a 12-7 victory to give Newport their second win on the season. They are now 2-2. Like I said, they jumped to an early 7-0 lead in the first two innings. Joey Bellini made his debut for the Gulls. He is middle infielder from Cincinnati, and he made quite the debut. Nick, I'll let you talk about it if you want in a minute, or at least your takeaways from the game. But first pitch he saw, he doubled in the left center gap. Later, he had an at-bat where first pitch he saw, he homered to straightaway center. So 2-for-5 debut for Bellini, scored 3 runs. Absolutely an incredible performance, but really good all-around team performance for the Gulls.
Yeah, definitely. And Bellini's performance in his first game, we've seen that throughout the whole weekend. In fact, with most of these guys who didn't play in the home opener, so you're really seeing some good baseball right now from the Gulls, and it's very promising baseball, especially this early in the season.
And then on the other side of things, Danbury, like I said, coming into this one still undefeated through 4 games, 4-0. They just beat Vermont 3-2. Talk about their season a little bit, Jacob, and then touch on the last victory over Vermont.
Well, it's been a great start to the season for the Westerners. As you said, they're undefeated. They just finished their first road trip of the season. They took on the Upper Valley Nighthawks and the Vermont Mountaineers. They swept the 2 Vermont teams, which was a great look for the 2019 Westerners. And it's been a big thanks to the offense. The offense has just been outstanding for this team, hitting 1 through 9, and it really doesn't matter where these guys are in the lineup. We have Alex Barada hitting leadoff tonight when he's been hitting cleanup. He has a home run on his ledger already. Was on the Week 1 honor roll in the Southern Division for the entire NECBL. He's hitting .438 through a week of play. He's been fantastic. You have Justin Jordan, who patrols center field. The Sacred Heart Pioneer leads the league in stolen bases right now. He's got 5 steals in 4 games. You got Nick LaRusso as a home run. Vinny Bailey has a couple home runs. So it's been a mix of power and speed. If you look up and down the lineup, you think they're a speed team. You've got Justin Jordan. You've got Lyndon Weaver, Jack McCarthy, guys like that. Caleb Upshaw, you just added. But they not only lead the league in steals right now, they lead the league in home runs as well. Part of that comes with Rogers Park and the small outfield, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some guys put a charge into one in this game.
So you highlighted a lot of their lineup. How about you just take us through Danbury's lineup here tonight?
Absolutely. As I said, leading off is Alex Barada playing second base. He comes out of Binghamton, followed by Matt Zaffino, the Division III product out of Hamilton. Had a walk-off home run in the Danbury Westerners season opener. He's in left field. Then Cameron Ceruto out of Army West Point. He's behind the plate, followed by Vinny Bailey out of North Carolina Central University. He's the first baseman. He had a 2-home run game earlier in the season against New Bedford. Then Nick LaRusso, the Villanova Wildcats, at the hot corner, followed by center fielder Justin Jordan, who for the first time this season isn't in the leadoff spot. Up next, designated hitter Jay Curtis IV, the Dayton Flyer. He splits time behind the plate with Ceruto. Then Alex Bello, who's at shortstop out of South Florida. And finally, right fielder Jack McCarthy out of St. Mary's. It's a very solid lineup up and down.
So you talked about a lot of speed, a lot of power on this team. A couple of the names popping out. We talked to him before the game during BP on your squad. Cameron Ceruto. Seemed like a funny guy, seemed like a fun guy, but all around, good player.
Yes, Cameron Ceruto really skilled. He made his debut against Vermont, and his first hit is actually only hit 2-run home run. Guy's got a lot of power. If you get a chance to take a look at him, you'll see him behind the plate today. He's a really big dude, is Ceruto. He's 6 foot plus, 230 pounds, and he's pure muscle. Like I said, he trains at Army West Point. So the guy is in ridiculous shape, and he's got some pop. And if he doesn't hit one over the fence here, he may be the only guy in the world who has the strength to hit a ball through a fence.
Yeah. Well, starting against the Danbury Westerners lineup will be Art Hoven. Of course, he's already pitched for Newport this season, but let's take a look at his numbers for Missouri this spring. He had a 4.33 ERA through 43 2/3 innings pitched. He had a 3-1 record. He gave up 25 runs, 21 earned off of 35 hits. He had 51 strikeouts against 34 walks. So that's something he wants to start limiting, is those walks. In opening day for the Gulls, he was their ace pitcher on the mound, the guy that they looked to start the season. Through 4 innings, he only gave up 3 hits, had 8 strikeouts, but once again, he did give up 4 walks. So I talked to him on the bus during the road trip this this weekend. Talked to him about how great of a start he had and how he nearly got pitcher of the week in the NECBL. He said, yeah, it was all right. I said, what are you talking about? It's all right. You pitched 4 innings. You had 8 strikeouts. All you could do, you had 12 outs to get, and 8 of them were strikeouts. What more could you have asked for? And he's, well, I walked too many. That's what I want to improve on. So he's a humble kid. He looks to get better with every single pitch. And I think he will here today because he's a driven kid. So that's who's starting on the mound for the Gulls. But taking a look at their lineup, Jake Gustin will lead it off for the first time this year. He is from Bryant and will be playing second base also for the first time for the Gulls. Joey Bellini batting second. Shortstop from Cincinnati. Batting third is Chris Hamilton. He will be hitting as the designated hitter from Stony Brook. Batting cleanup and playing right field is Brett Vosick from Kansas. Behind the dish tonight and batting fifth is Colton Bender from Quinnipiac. Batting sixth is Ryan Touris, who will be playing first from Villanova. Following him is Zaid Walker from Michigan State and playing center field for the first time. Gulls fans are used to him playing right field, but he will be playing and patrolling center field in Cardines tonight. Batting behind Zaid in the 8 hole is Austin James from Missouri. He will be playing third for the first time. And then in the 9 hole is Greg Cavalieri from URI in left field. So a whole lot of changes for the Gulls defensively, but a lot of good bats out there. How would you take us through the visiting pitcher for the Westerners?
So on the bump today for Danbury is Justin Campbell, who spent most of his time at Tulane as a reliever. Big left-handed pitcher. Made an appearance in the season opener, pitched really well against Ocean State. 2 1/3, 1 strikeout, no hits, and that was when Danbury was down for most of that game. They gave up a first-inning grand slam to Dylan Morton of the Waves, and Campbell came in the 6th inning, pitched the rest of the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, and was able to keep the Westerners in that game. He's got a really funky delivery. You're going to see 2 different arm slots out of him. We mentioned a little bit in the pregame. He throws over the top, and he's got a sidearm motion also. So it took a lot of velocity off of his pitch to do that, but he still throws fastball, slider, curve from both those spots, and it makes it really hard and really deceptive for all the hitters to pick up.
And I was talking to Hudson Haskin before the game, his teammate at Tulane. He's a member of the Newport Gulls, out of the lineup today. Talked about how he's a submarine pitcher and how he throws fastball, slider, change. And so sometimes that curve / change, it can be deceptive from that arm angle. So it'll be interesting to see how he throws here tonight. Sidearm, submarine, whatever you will.
I think it appears submarine because he's so long and lengthy that he drops his left arm down, and his elbow kind of looks like it's going to end up being submarine. But he still throws it out of that sidearm slot, which allows him to get a little bit of more tail on the fastball. The movement on this guy's pitches, you're going to have to see in person.
Well, it'll be fun to watch here tonight. Taking a look at the weather, it is 64 degrees here in Newport. There's a little bit of a wind coming from behind home plate, 12 miles per hour from the south with 72% humidity. It feels like 63 outside right now. So should be a good one, but it will cool off a little bit later. But Nick, thankfully, we don't have to worry about the fog tonight as we did opening night.
Yeah, absolutely. Very beautiful night for baseball. It should be a fun one here.
So we're about ready for opening pitch here in Cardines in Newport, Rhode Island. Alex Barada is set to lead it off for the Westerners. Art Hoven, the lefty from Missouri, on the mound for the Gulls. Both teams in their all whites tonight. Westerners, white tops, white bottoms with the striped socks, and they will be wearing the black hats, while the Gulls, white tops, white pants. Most of them wearing the long pants, but they will have the straight black socks with the black caps with the blue bills. As this first pitch from Hoven is going to be flown into the right center gap, and Zaid Walker fields it off with 2 hops. So first pitch, first hit of the day for Barada.
Barada picking up right where he left off last week. We mentioned that he was on the honor roll for the week in the NECBL, and that extends his hitting streak. It's still small. We're early in the season, but he's got a 5-game hitting streak in 5 possible games. So he's doing his job and getting on base.
That's exactly what you ask for out of your leadoff man. Now Hoven looking over to first. Now deals first pitch to Zaffino, and it's going to be chopped foul along the third base line. 0-1. Zaffino of Hamilton College. You said it's a D3 school.
Yeah, he's the lone Division III player on the team.
Hit .302 there this spring with a .422 on base. Hovind looking over to first, lefty on righty matchup, delivers an off speed that misses up, gets away from Bender, but runner stays at first. That's one of the characteristics we talked about in the first broadcast at Newport. Not a lot of room behind this backstop, so if it does get away, kind of helps out Newport or whoever's pitching, I guess. Runners usually don't advance on those wild pitches or pass balls.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also helps that the wooden backstop behind definitely allows the ball to careen back to the catcher.
Now Hovind delivers the 1-1, check swing. They're going to offer down to first. They're going to say he didn't go. Bender looked a little bit surprised behind the plate. Nonetheless, 2-1 to Zaffino.
That first pitch situation on the pass ball makes it really tough because normally the Westerners have Justin Jordan leading off the game. He's a quick guy, speedster, stole 12 bases at Sacred Heart this year. But Barada's more of a power guy. He's going to get on base, he's going to hit, but he doesn't have the capabilities to run like a guy like Justin Jordan.
Now the 2-1 fastball misses low and away. Count now climbs to 3-1 to the Westerners' two-hitter. Hovind working from the middle of the rubber. A lot of times you see pitchers work from either the first base side or the third base side. Now Hovind on the 3-1, comes right back with a fastball that misses up and away. So that will be his first walk of the day. So runners on first and second. First two batters for the Westerners are aboard.
Matt Zaffino not used to having both dugouts on the first base side. Went to toss that bat there after the walk to third base and just realized nobody's there.
Of course, Cardines, we talked about it a little bit in the first, and I'm sure we'll talk about it on nearly every broadcast, or especially the first time new teams come to town. It is the oldest field, or second, depending on who you ask, old field in America. And so by virtue of that, as this pitch is going to be grounded over to short, fielded cleanly, thrown to second in time for 1, over to first in time for 2. So a 6-4-3 double play. But Barada does move up to third, so with 2 away, there is a runner in scoring position, 90 feet away for the Westerners. But since it is the oldest or second oldest, depending on who you ask, field in America, one of the unique things about it is they have hockey-style dugouts. The dugouts are right next to each other.
Speaking of hockey, there's a great hockey game going on tonight. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Championship.
There's a great baseball game going on right here.
Oh, that's true.
Lefty on lefty matchup for Hovind on the mound against Vinny Bailey. First pitch fastball over the heart of the plate, 0-1.
So 2 great sporting events going on in New England tonight.
Can't complain. Bailey this spring for North Carolina Central hit .305 with a .431 on base. Earned himself the big. Excuse me, it's this. Ball's going to be grounded up the middle of the short, thrown to first in time for out number 3. So no run score off of 1 hit as the Westerners leave 1 stranded. Heading into the bottom of the first. Still 0-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the first here in Newport. Still 0-0 as Jake Gustin is set to lead things off for the Gulls. Justin Campbell is on the mound for the Westerners. And I know we talked about it in the pregame, but Jacob, I'll let you inform the fans. Maybe they're just tuning in. Tell them a little bit about the pitcher on the mound for Danbury.
So Justin Campbell, we said before, a big left-handed pitcher, and if you looked on the mound, you'd think this guy's pumping 95, 96, over the top, coming right at you. That's just not the case, Steven. He's somewhat of a breaking ball guy. He doesn't throw very hard. He sits in the 80 to 86 range. Depends which arm slot he comes from. You see here in the warm-ups, we're zoomed in on it. He goes from over the top where he's going to throw a fastball, curveball, and a slider, which if you look at the grips, I don't know how close we can get on these cameras, but if you look at the grips, they're very similar. It's just all about how he flicks his wrist and puts the spin on it. But he also drops it down and comes from the sidearm slot. You're going to see the fastball and the curveball, not so much of the slider down there. Actually, pardon, the fastball and slider. You're not going to see that much of the curveball because the curveball is a big looping hook.
A big looping hook coming from Campbell, but you're right, he does change his arm slots quite a bit, especially with the fastball coming in. Now, I don't know about your playing experience. Do you think that tips hitters off a little bit when they see that new arm slot coming in?
In most scenarios, I think yes, but his coaches at Tulane approve of it and let him do it in games, and that's Division I baseball.
So if they say it's good there.
I think part of it is that, let's say he only threw the fastball from the side and the curveball from over the top, then it's going to tip hitters off. But when you have all three pitches from both sides and he uses all three in such a good mix, it's still tough for these guys to pick up.
This first pitch to Gustin, hard ground ball over to second, going to be bobbled over by Barada, but he picks it up and throws to first in time. So one away off of one pitch. And that quick out will bring up Joey Bellini.
Yeah, Justin Campbell hasn't pitched in a week. He pitched in the home opener last Wednesday in Danbury through 2 1/3 innings, as aforementioned, and he was really effective. He's yet to give up a hit on the season still, and he worked pretty well for the Green Wave this year, threw over 40 innings down for Tulane.
So Bellini at the dish, like I mentioned, made his debut last night as this first pitch changeup. Bellini watches for strike one. Lefty on righty matchup. Second pitch, fastball on the outside edge, 0-2.
It's not what you'd expect from a fastball. This guy looks like Randy Johnson with his stature out there, and just those the speed of some guys you see in high school, but the movement on the pitch.
Now this 0-2. Fastball misses low and away, so count now 1-2 to the Cincinnati shortstop. Bellini hit .298 for Cincy this spring, as now this 1-2 is fanned at for strike three, so Campbell making quick work of the goals early on. Earns his first strikeout of the day.
That's a situation where I think the arm slots is an advantage, because not only are you up there down 1-2, you got to respect all three pitchers, but now you got to see, is he going to come over the top to me? Is he going to drop the hook? Is he going to come from the side and throw a slider at the back foot there, which is what Bellini just whiffed over? There's more variables that the hitter has to account for, as long as Campbell doesn't, as you say, tip some pitches.
So now Chris Hamilton settles in for the goals. Lefty on lefty matchup. Shows bunt, but pulls it back at the pitch on the inside edge. So 1-0. Hamilton 3 for 8 for Newport this year. Westerners are shifting hard, and that's why he's still showing bunt, but he bunts this one foul. 1-1.
Hamilton, a guy whose power is more than impressive. For Stony Brook, he had 8 home runs this year, and this is a park that it's not super long for your fans at home, but the fence is, it's like the Green Monster all the way around.
Got 28 feet high fences from left to right. So now this 1-1 swung at and missed on the fastball at the knees.
Justin Campbell, not a guy who's given up many home runs in his career. He only gave up 1 home run this season in Tulane in over 40 innings pitched, so he keeps the ball in the ballpark.
So now this 1-2 drops out of the zone, so count now even at 2. Hamilton pitched and played outfield in high school, then got to Stony Brook, and they stuck him at first base, but he is quite an athlete. Also was a star soccer player, as now we see Campbell stumble off the mound and spike the ball just a couple feet from the mound. I don't know if time was called. I
believe time was called, because I didn't see a ball signal called by the umpire.
I didn't either, but I didn't see time called before. It wasn't an emphatic time call, at least from the umpire.
Didn't see it or hear it, too. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. So now the next pitch from Campbell, swung at and missed. So nonetheless, it is strike 3 for Hamilton. So 3 up, 3 down for the goals in the first, heading in to the second. Still tied at 0. Top of the second, still 0-0. Art Hoban on the mound for the goals, as LaRusso, Jordan, and Curtis are due up for the Westerners. Stephen Huff alongside Jacob Kronberg and Nick Bello, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls. So LaRusso settling in at the dish, will be settling in at the dish for the Westerners. From Villanova, hit .302 this spring. Big East freshman of the year, and I was asking Ryan Tours, his teammate at Villanova, he plays for the Gulls, scouting report on Nick LaRusso, and he said, listen, this guy, I don't know what to tell you. complete hitter. And I said, does he have any holes in his game and in his approach? He said, no. He won Big East Freshman of the Year.
Here's my one hole that we've noticed and seen in the first couple of games. He takes a lot of fastballs, which is surprising. And I was speaking to head coach Josh Parrow about it. Like, what do you do? Guy's taking a lot of fastballs down the heart of the plate, and he's like, this guy is a career 300 hitter.
Let him do his thing.
Yeah, don't change the approach. Don't say anything because he can absolutely rake.
He does watch the first pitch fastball from Hovind. It's in there for strike one. But you're right. I mean, if he's watching fastballs, but he's hitting 300.
Imagine if he was hitting fastballs.
Yeah. So now this 0-1 pitch from Hovind. Fastball misses low and away. 1-1.
As good as LaRusso is at the plate, he also played a big role on the mound for the Wildcats this year.
Two-way player.
Pitched over 50 innings for Villanova. Didn't have the strongest ERA, but he got his work in, and he's going to continue to be a two-way player for Villanova for 3 more seasons. It just finished his true freshman year.
Now this 1-1 pitch from Hovind. Fastball catches the outside edge. 1-2.
You're starting to see a lot more two-way players, I've noticed, in college baseball. Is that something that's going to be like a big trend going forward? I'm not sure.
I think part of it comes to injury. So many guys are hurt now that people are forced to do it longer in their careers.
Speaking of injuries, Colton Bender just took a nasty foul ball. He's going to take a trot around home plate. He looks to walk it off. 1-2 curve fouled right off the catcher. He looks to be okay. He took a beating, I tell you, on this road trip this past weekend in New Bedford. He got his first start, and he was a man amongst boys this weekend, making every defensive play you can imagine, but was getting beat up on foul ball after foul ball. And then we go to South Kingstown last night against the Waves, and foul ball after foul ball. This guy couldn't avoid it.
It's one of the toughest positions in all sports. You just take a beating down there.
Now this 1-2 is going to be grounded over, hard ground ball past a diving Jake Gustin into center field. And that will put the leadoff man on board once again for the Westerners.
All he does is hit, man. There's no other way to put it. It's another leadoff single for the Westerners. That's 2 leadoff base runners in 2 innings. And Lucia's got decent speed on the bases. I wouldn't say he's a huge base-stealing threat like the guy at the plate, Justin Jordan, but he's definitely capable to move around there on the base paths and even score on a gapper.
I was looking at a lot of your guys' spring stats, and just about every single one of them had a lot of steals this spring. This first pitch from Hovind misses for ball 1.
There are a lot of young guys on this team. Justin Jordan and Nick LaRusso, to be in particular, they're up right now. Both just played as their true freshman season at Sacred Heart and Villanova, respectively, and they're young guys out of high school. I guess they're probably like the best shape of their lives unless you turn pro. That's what they say when you go away to college. Get ready for that freshman 15. These two got their freshman 15 stolen bases.
Now this lefty-on-lefty matchup. 1-0 pitch fastball on the outside edge. 1-1. Freshman 15 turned into 15 stolen bases for that Westerner pair. Might have to steal that one from you.
I just came up with it.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Now this 1-1 off-speed cut. Justin Jordan on his front foot. 1-2 now.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly 15 for Jordan. He had 12, but he was 12 for 12 on stolen bags at Sacred Heart. Pretty solid efficiency, if I had to say so, and he plays an outstanding defensive center field for this team. Probably the most prime-time defender we have on the Westerners early in the year.
Hovind looks to first, but deals a curveball that drops out of the zone on the outside edge. 2-2 now. Hovind working from the stretch, like I said, from the middle of the rubber, and I asked him, why are you on the middle of the rubber, not on the first or third base side? As this 2-2 slider catches the outside edge and catches Justin Jordan looking for out number 1 in the second. First strikeout of the day for Hovind here on the mound. And he said, well, I have some pitches that tail away and some that run, and so I like to stay in the middle of the mound so I can kind of compensate that for a little.
Yeah, that way nothing. I understand that nothing bleeds over the plate, and especially if you're a guy that has action both ways, like you said, Hovind is. You have a pitcher like Campbell where everything but the fastball is going to break toward your glove side, so you want to work where that's going to fall off the plate. You don't want anything to land hard on the plate against these Division I talents.
Now Joey Curtis settles in, lines one over to the first base side and foul. 0-1. Jay Curtis, check that. Designated hitter from Dayton. Hit .259 this spring for the Flyers. Had third most hits on the team and enjoyed an 11-game hit streak. In the meantime, as he fans this 0-1 pitch, 0-2 now.
Curtis, probably the better of him and Ceruto defensively behind the plate when it comes to receiving pitches and blocking balls. Arm not quite as strong as Ceruto's, and both the guys hit. I mean, anytime your catcher's hitting, it's just icing on the cake. That's your primary defensive position.
Now this 0-2 change is going to be swung at and chopped behind the plate.
The Gulls have Bender, who can, as you said, hit the lights out of the ball. You have Peter Ceruto also, who was drafted this year to the Major Leagues, opted to go back to college. He can hit as well, and you got guys like Curtis the fourth and Ceruto for our Ceruto. Ceruto with a C.
What are the odds of that as this 0-2 pitch climbs upstairs? 1-2. Both Ceruto, but as you said, spelled differently. Not often you see such a unique name, but
never met a Ceruto before calling for the Westerners. They've been here for a week, and I know two now.
Now this 1-2 from Hovind. He's going to throw over to first, but back in time is LaRusso. Lefty on righty matchup. How about these uniforms? I mentioned them at the beginning. I know some folks are listening over the airwaves and aren't watching. All whites for both teams. Hovind throws over to first once again, but diving back safely is LaRusso.
Yeah, the Westerners really like the all-white uniforms, and I guess it's been rolling for them. They're 4-0 in them.
Both are clean looks, and I guess if you're 4-0 in them, you have to stick with it. Baseball is a sport of superstition.
Brought them on the road trip to Vermont, won the 2 home games in them.
Now this pitch runs inside on Curtis.
You met our head coach, Josh Parra, before the game. He's definitely a superstitious kind of guy, a goofy kind of guy, but his theory is if it ain't broke, works, don't fix it. Excuse my slang on the air, but that's the expression we all know for it.
I don't know if I've ever seen teams. This is 2-2. Off speed, misses just outside. Count now full. I don't know if I've ever seen two teams wear nearly identical uniforms while playing each other.
It definitely doesn't help that both teams are blue and white or black and white.
They do wear similar colors. Westerners white, black with an accent of red. The Gulls white have an accent of black, but blue and orange primarily. Now this full count pitch from Hovind. It's going to be swung on and flown into deep left. Going back at the track is Cavalieri as he looks up and watches this one hit the houses past the fence. So that's a 2-run home run for Jay Curtis. And the Westerners take an early 2-0 lead.
That's an absolute bomb by Jay Curtis, adding his first home run of the season. Now he and Ceruto, the two catchers, each have one on the ledger, and he got all of that ball. Took the inside fastball, just turned on it, and sent that ball over. Is it the 28-foot fence, is it?
28 feet all around.
That's an absolute bomb. I mean, to hit the ball the distance of the fence is one thing. Most of the guys on the field can do that. There's not going to be too many guys out there who can hit it over the fence down there. We saw a couple of guys do it in batting practice for the Westerners. Ceruto did it. Vinny Bailey did it. I don't think Curtis hit one out in BP, though.
Now this first pitch to Alex Bello of USF. Fastball in there for strike one. You asked me when you got here, there's no way someone hits home runs here, right? And I said, no, you'll see some. And here we are in the second inning already with the Westerners hitting the first one of tonight. Is this 0-1 pitch misses outside, 1-1.
I mean, I'm used to Rogers Park where pretty much everything's home run. 360 in dead center field. The Westerners have played 2 games there, and between them and the road teams that have come, there have been 7 home runs at Rogers Park in 2 games. 5 of them by the Westerners.
Now this 1-1 fastball on the outside edge. Bello thought about it, but held back, but it's in there anyways, 1-2. So it's an easier park down there in Danbury, but something that you're not used to seeing here. Maybe as many home runs at the higher fence, but you still get them. And you might just be
all these guys can hit.
Right.
These guys are ball players. They're here for a reason, primarily Division I talents. You got a couple D2, couple D3. But you're only playing in the NECBL if you can really play baseball at a high level.
This is 1-2 pitch missed outside. 2-2. And on the 2-2, Hovind catches Bello swinging for strike 3. So there's 2 away here in the second. And Hovind is responsible for both of those outs with 2 strikeouts.
Bello has struck out a lot early this season, had 2 punch outs. against the Mountaineers a couple days ago, and even after 2 days off, get some practice, get some batting practice reps in. Cage work, still goes down swinging against Hovind, who's no easy matchup to face when you're in an early season slump.
Yeah, that doesn't do well for his confidence facing one of the better pitchers in the league. This first pitch drops out of the zone to McCarthy, 1-0. Jack McCarthy of St. Mary's at 250 this spring.
Didn't get too much time for
Only
the
had 24
Gales.
at-bats, yeah. So now this 1-0 pitch off speed, breaking ball comes inside. 2-0.
McCarthy actually spent his freshman campaign at Oregon State University, and I learned this on the bus ride up today. We made the trip from Danbury this morning. That his freshman year, he was teammates with Adley Rutschman. And for those of you at home who don't know who that is, he was picked #1 overall in the first-year players draft this year, so he knows a thing or two about baseball.
This 2-0 pitch misses up and away, 3-0. Yeah, Rutschman, not too bad of a player, huh?
He's hit a few baseballs in his day, the #1 overall pick to the Baltimore Orioles, catching prospect. We talked about hitting catchers for a little bit. Adley Rutschman can hit.
Now this 3-0 pitch misses outside once again, so that will put a runner aboard first for Danbury. Second walk of the day for Hovind on the mound. And hitting catchers, that's kind of a dying breed, at least in the majors. I think it's coming back, at least in college, which is what you want, obviously. Catching prospects are thinner, but I think we have a good group of them here in the NECBL.
Yeah, we've got a handful of very good catchers that we've seen. I don't believe you guys have gone up to the Mountaineers yet.
Not yet, as this first pitch low and inside to the leadoff man for Danbury, Alex Barada, 1-0.
They have 3 catchers on that roster who are all supposed to be very good. One of them DH'd against the Westerners, but the guy who caught was Sean Flaherty, who's actually John Flaherty's nephew. He's one of the catching prospects up at Vermont, along with 2 other guys, and they can hit pretty well. And you said you've got Colton Bender here, who's been phenomenal.
Now this 1-0 pitch drops out of the zone, 2-0. And then, of course, Peter Ceruto, who was drafted last year by the Reds in the 22nd round. So it is a solid group. It's now this 2-0 from Hovind. Runner goes, misses inside. Now he's going to catch him in a pickle. Gustin chasing him down, throws over to first, and they tag him mercifully for out number 3. But not before Danbury puts 2 on the board off of a 2-run shot from Jay Curtis to give them a 2-0 lead heading in to the bottom of the second here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. It's the bottom of the second here in Newport. 2-0, the Gulls trail the Westerners as the 4, 5, 6 hitters are due up for the Gulls. Brett Vosick of Kansas, followed by Colton Bender of Quinnipiac and Ryan Tours of Villanova, as Justin Campbell of Tulane is still on the mound for Danbury after a solid 1-2-3 inning in the first.
Yeah, Campbell looked really sharp in that first inning. He said 1-2-3, had a mix of all his pitches working there, at a pair of strikeouts, one of them coming on a back foot slider. So he's got that pitch, he's got a good feel for it. We didn't see too many curveballs. Campbell's curveball is, I don't want to say a get-me-over because it's not going to sit up there for you to clobber, but it's not one that's going to really, you're not going to swing over it. He's going to throw it for strikes, but it's not his put-away pitch like a lot of lefties have.
So leading off for the Gulls, as I said, will be Brett Vosick facing Campbell, who has mixed his pitch as well, like you mentioned. First pitch to Vosick, going to foul it off himself. 0-1 now to the Kansas left-hander. 4 for 16 on the young season for the Gulls. 1 for 5 in his last outing with an RBI and a run in the meantime. He also earned a walk. This 0-1 overhand. He's going to fly this one down the line and right, but over the warehouse and foul.
He put a charge into that one, did Vosick.
He has a lot of power. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a home run from him coming soon. I mean, just about every batting practice we lose some baseballs every time they're running out. So now this one's going to be grounded over to Barada at second. He throws to first in time for out number 1.
Second inning starts same as the first one for the Gulls, a 4-3 putout.
Ground out over to Barada to lead off both innings. But That's been the joke with the team with Brett Bosick. Every batting practice, it started up in Keene. Keene has a smaller ballpark than most, but he just kept hitting every ball out of the ballpark, and they said, you got to stop. We're going to run out of balls.
You'll start getting fined for hitting home runs.
Yeah. So after that ground out to Barada at second, that'll bring up the Quinnipiac catcher, Colton Bender. Player of the game against New Bedford, and he's going to fly this one into the deep right center corner. It's going to carry him off the wall. Bender rounding first, heading into second with a stand-up double. So that's one way to get the first hit of the day for Newport. His 5th hit of the year, 2nd double.
Hitting catchers, man.
Just what we were talking about. They were a dying breed, but Colton Bender and some of the other catchers in the NECBL.
They're making us look really good down there right now.
Had something to say about it. Thank you, Colton.
He led the Bobcats in batting average this year, so he can really swing the stick. And that was the team that played in a regional against East Carolina.
And beat them in one game.
Beat East Carolina in a game.
Now Ryan Tours settles in at the dish for the Gulls. Left-hander from Villanova. First pitch, overhand pitch from Campbell on the mound. This is inside as it drops out of the zone. 1-0.
Tours teammates with Nick LaRusso, obviously the two Villanova Wildcats. They play the corners for him, first base and third base. Two are pretty familiar with themselves.
Tours hitting 3 for 10 on the season for Newport with 2 doubles, both of them towards left field, so opposite field power as he watches this 1-0 pitch miss up. 2-0. Last time out for Tours, he was 1 for 3 with one of those doubles, while also working a walk.
Tours was first team All Big East in 2018.
Now he's going to foul this one off right at the plate, so 2-1.
And he was projected to be first team Big East this year. He was projected to be in contention for Player of the Year, and then struggled a little bit coming off a stellar junior campaign.
Struggled a little bit, yeah. Hit 203 this spring, so not exactly the spring he wanted. But you know he has the stuff in him. Last summer, played for the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. Led the league with the most home runs and RBI, while finishing second in batting average with a 391 average across the summer. So nearly hit 400. 2-1 pitch to Tours. He's going to chop this one over to first. Bailey grabs it and steps on the bag for the second out of the inning. Bender does move up to third, though, so with 2 away, there is a runner 90 feet from giving the Gulls their first run of the day. Finishing up that thought on Tours, after hitting 391 while leading the league in home runs and RBI, he was named the PGCBL Player of the Year. He was a first-team PGCBL performer, of course, and was a first-team Summer Collegiate Baseball All-American. And that is an award given across the whole country.
Yeah, I mean, the Perfect Game League is no joke. It's up there in upstate New York, I believe, or most of the teams. You said Mohawk Valley.
Yep.
They play up there, and those guys can hit. I mean, them, the NECBL, a lot of Northeast conferences. It's where college baseball lies. You can go out to the Midwest where you're from, and you got the Northwoods League out there. And there's some California leagues, but you think summer ball, you think NECBL, NYCBL, Perfect Game, the Cape.
Yep, they're all over. We missed 2 pitches, now 2 Zaid Walker. First pitch missed low for ball 1. He swung through the second one for strike 1. And then he fouled off the next pitch, so count now 1-2 to Walker. He's playing center field today. He's been playing right field for the Gulls. We'll be patrolling center, though, for the first time in Cardines. As this 1-2 pitch misses up, count now even at 2.
Zaid Walker, another guy who was drafted out of high school, was taken in the 36th round of the draft by the Reds after his senior season. He was the number 2 player in all of Illinois, according to PBR.
Chose to attend Michigan State, where he had a successful spring, but he's going to be caught looking for strike 3 to end the third strikeout of the day for Campbell on the mound. Heading into the third, Westerners lead 2-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the third here in Newport. The Gulls trail the Westerners 2-0. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg, and the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. And Nick, I'm going to turn to you quickly to take a look around the league, tonight's games, the standings. Nick, take it away.
Thank you, Stephen. We have a couple games going on tonight. We have Valley visiting Mystic. That game is 6-2 Valley in the bottom of the third. New Bedford is at Keene tonight, no score, top of the second. Ocean State is visiting the Vineyard and has 4-0 Ocean State in the top of the second. Then Upper Valley at Vermont, no score, bottom first. As for the standings, here's the Northern Division. The Valley Blue Sox lead in first place with a 4-1 record. They are also tied with North Adams, who also has a 4-1 record. The Vermont Mountaineers and the Keene Swamp Bats are in the middle of the pack. Sanford Mainers followed Keene. Upper Valley 1-4. They're towards the bottom of the group, and the Winnipesaukee Muskrats finished out the Northern Division at an 0-5 record. As for the Southern Division, we have the Mystic Schooners out in front with a 5-0 record. The Danbury Westerners not so far behind with a 4-0 record, and then Martha's Vineyard and Newport both have 2-2 records. They're in the middle of the pack. Ocean State Waves at 1-4, and then to round out the Southern Division, we have the Bedford Bay Sox with an 0-4 record. Stephen, back to you.
Of course, it's early in the season, so we will see those standings shape up quite a bit. So we missed 2 pitches in the meantime. First pitch half swung at and missed for strike 1. Next pitch bounced in the dirt. Bender with a nice block for ball 1. So 1-1, and now this pitch is going to be grounded along the third base fence and foul. So 1-2 now to the leadoff man this inning for the Westerners, Alex Barada.
Barada singled to right center field, his first time up. Eventually made his way to third base, but the inning ended on the Vinny Bailey putout. So he was stranded at third base, but we said before, Barada, probably the most pure hitter that the Westerners have. One of the purest hitters in the league, was an America East Player of the Year finalist after he transferred to Binghamton. Started his career at UNC Asheville, played a season there before transferring to the Bearcats.
So he has quite a bit of talent to him. Of course, he hit .356 this spring with over 400 on base, 426 to be exact. This 1-2 pitch misses outside, goes back to the backstop. 2-2 now to Barada. Lefty on righty matchup. Hoban out of the windup, looks on, and now pump kicks, delivers. Curveball that's going to be flown into right, but a trailing Tours watches it fly out of play, so count remains even at 2.
Speaking of Tours, Alex Barada and Ryan Tours actually played in high school together, both at Seton Hall Prep in New Jersey.
So they have quite a bit of a connection there. And then, of course, Tours playing with Danbury Westerner on at Villanova's. This one's going to be lined into left, but Cavalieri settles underneath it easily for out number 1.
Another hard hit ball by Barada, but right at Cavalieri, who was able to make the play. That's the first ball we've seen pulled today that didn't go over the fence.
Yeah, you're completely right. Of course, that 2-run home run earlier from Jay Curtis, the designated hitter for the Westerners, pulled that one down towards left field over Cavalieri's head and over the 28-foot fence to put us where we are right now. The Westerners lead the Gulls 2-0 as this first pitch to Zaffino is fanned at up in the zone for strike 1.
Matt Zaffino has, I know it's the early season, but the biggest hit of the year for the Westerners in the season opener. Walk-off 3-run homer against the Waves.
Now the 0-1 pitch to Zaffino, catches the corner low and away, 0-2.
He came into the game in left field as a defensive replacement for Lyndon Weaver, who got a cramp and made a misplay, an error that scored a run to make it 5-3 Waves heading to the bottom of the 9th.
Now this 0-2 pitch to Zaffino, nearly the same spot, just a little bit more outside though, so this one missed low and away, 1-2.
So he came up in the bottom of the 9th, runners on first and second, nobody out, and puts one over the right center field fence. You've got a double fence out there as well.
Now this 1-2 pitch going to be lined up, flown actually out of play in to the streets behind the stadium. Count now remains 1-2.
It's no 28-foot fence, but it's 2 chain links high. It's 20 feet, and he hit the ball to the opposite field to walk things off and make up for that miscue. And it was a nice at-bat debut, nice NECBL debut for Zaffino.
And a nice redemption story after his miscue on the field. Is this 1-2 pitch, fastball up, stairs, count now even at 2.
Zaffino actually played in the Hamptons League last year. Almost went back for a second season.
And then he came
to the NECBL where he's done well. I saw that last night against Ocean State. Actually, they had a defensive sub at third. First play, he booted into left field. This 2-2 pitch from Hoven's going to catch Zaffino looking for strike three. Third strikeout of the day for Hoven on the mound. It's good for out number 2 here in the third.
He knew that immediately.
Yeah, it was a filthy pitch. Fooled Zaffino the whole way. He was looking the whole way. As 2 away here as Ceruto settles in, but defensive sub for Ocean State booted the first ground ball right to him into left field. Later, redeemed himself with an incredible diving play into left. Now this one's going to be lined from Ceruto, and speaking of great plays, nearly made by Vosick in right, sliding to his left, to his right, our left, but he couldn't glove it cleanly, and so it trickles out, and that is going to go down as a hit.
You got to give that a single because Vosick left his feet. It's not a play that has to be made. It's usually how scorers will determine it. If a guy leaves his feet, leaps, dives for a ball, you're usually going to credit the hitter with a base knock.
So Ceruto is aboard first. This one's going to be lined out of play along the third base line. 0-1. The official score did rule him a single. I tend to agree with you.
The counter argument is that he did have the ball in his glove. He did the hard part.
He did the hard part, just had to hang on to it.
Couldn't quite squeeze it in the leather.
This 0-1 pitch is going to be chopped foul along both dugouts. 0-2. Of course, the sun is coming right into his eyes, too. You have to take that into effect. Sun over Cardines Field. Now this 0-2 pitch runs upstairs, 1-2. Lefty on lefty matchup for Hoven on the mound. Bailey at the plate hit .305 this spring, was top 10 in the MEAC in slugging percentage and on base. Had .431 on base and .470 slugging. So another guy in your lineup that does it all. He's at North Carolina Central this spring, and he's going to fly this one into right, but hangs in the air a little bit too long, and Vosick gloves this one cleanly. And so no run score for the Westerners here in the third off of one hit as they leave one stranded. Heading into the bottom of the third, the Westerners lead the Gulls 2-0. 8-9 one-hitters due up for Newport here in the bottom of the third. They trail the Westerners 2-0. Justin Campbell still on the mound for the Westerners. I could let this tune run all day. Stephen Huff alongside Jacob Cronenberg, the voice of the Danbury Westerners, and Nick Bello, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls. You both are laughing at me a little bit.
Great song.
It is a great song. It is a great song. Campbell so far, pitched 2 innings, has only given up 1 hit, does have 3 strikeouts, one of them looking, so already a good outing for Campbell. He will be facing off against Austin James, the leadoff man in this inning for the Gulls of Missouri. Playing third base for the Gulls tonight. First time he's playing third base all season for Newport. We've seen Campbell mix his pitches well and mix his arm slots. Hudson Haskin, the teammate of him before the game, said he comes over the top with his fastball quite often. We've seen him mix quite a bit of his pitches over the top. He doesn't keep it consistent necessarily, and I was worried about him, questioning you before the game, worrying about him tipping his pitches, because if you only come with your fastball over the top, it might become obvious. But him mixing up his pitches with his arm slots, that's how he keeps it unpredictable. It's his first pitch to Austin James. Tails a little bit outside.
The only thing you're really going to see when it comes to that is in the sidearm slot, you're not going to see too many curveballs because it's really hard to get on top when you throw a 12-6 curve and your arm is kind of sideways. It's really just going to spin off to the side, too similar to the slider.
Now this 1-0 over the top pitch, fanned at from James, 1-1.
This isn't something that Campbell developed until after his freshman season at Tulane. He was a straight 3-quarter slot guy for years throughout Little League, middle school, high school, and his freshman season at Tulane.
Now this 1-1 is going to be lined into left. Nice base knock from Austin James, a guy that needs some confidence moving forward at the dish because he has a lot of talent, a lot of raw power, just hasn't put it all together for Newport yet, but solid contact there, knocking it into left for first hit of the day for the Missouri infielder, and that will bring up Greg Cavalieri, the outfielder from University of Rhode Island.
Campbell came up with the idea after his freshman season. He was telling me earlier, he threw an inning and a third his freshman campaign. That's it.
Now this first pitch misses up and away to Cavalieri, 1-0.
Then he realized he needed to do something to get himself on the mound. He wasn't going to blame the coaches for him not pitching. He knew he wasn't good enough, so he talked to his coaches about this and developed this tendency, and he really didn't use it much his sophomore year either. He did it more on the side, more in bullpens, more in the cage. And then junior year really brought it out for this season and had a solid year with it for the Green Wave.
Well, he just threw over to first to James. James slid back safely. And I didn't look up in time to see what arm slot did he throw over to first in.
I believe he's over. I believe it's the three-quarter slot when he throws to first
slot.
base.
1-0 pitch.
He's got a little more velocity coming out of that. So I think with the pickoff move, it's usually what he goes
comfortable
to.
Three-quarter slot. It's this 1-0 pitch to Cavalieri. Misses low and away. 2-0. So he kind of does it all. I wonder if he struggled with consistency at first when he switched up his throwing motion. It's 2-0 pitch on the outside edge. 2-1 now to the outfielder from URI.
It was about an 18-month process that it took to
I
really
can
get
imagine.
comfortable. It took a while, and even him and his coaches, they agreed that it wasn't quite ready to throw in a game.
This 2-1 over the top curveball. That's the one 12-6 you were talking about. Just drops out of the zone. 3-1 now to Cavalieri.
Yeah, we saw the curveball a couple times in his opener. Usually a pitch that kind of fell into the top of the zone. Even more of a bigger hook than that. That one sweeped a little bit more than I think Campbell would have liked.
Now this 3-1 pitch fastball, Cavalieri swung at and missed. Count now full. So it was an 18-month process, but they didn't give it game time during that 18 months.
No, it was getting a lot of bullpen work. It started right after the freshman season. Used it as an experiment, I think, in his sophomore year. Maybe a couple innings here or there. And then it became a full part of his repertoire as a junior.
This 3-2 pitch from Campbell misses up and out of the zone for ball 4. So that will put Cavalieri aboard first as James trots on down to second. So the first two runners are aboard for the Gulls. That is the first walk of the day for Campbell on the mound.
Base on balls is something that the Westerners struggled with mightily in Vermont. They walked 9 guys that game, hit 4, and only allowed 5 hits. They stranded 17 of the Mountaineers base runners that game. They needed to pitch out of a jam in nearly every inning.
That is something the Gulls did well last night against Ocean State as Gustin watches this first pitch from Campbell for strike 1. They watched and watched and watched. Just Ocean State not finding the zone. It was a tighter strike zone than most. It was a good strike zone. It was a major league strike zone, if you will. As this 0-1 from Campbell. He looks at second, now throws to Gustin, off speed. Breaking ball that's going to be grounded into right field. Rounding third and stumbling is James. The throw to the plate, play at the plate. They're going to say didn't tag him in time. James got around the tag, and they're going to rule him safe as Cavalieri moves up to third. So runners on the corners. And James came around to score, so the Gulls are on the board, and it's a 2-1 ball game.
Ceruto arguing a little bit. I don't want to say he was arguing, but he thought he got the tag.
We have a good look at it here. Let's see if he got the tag. We see the camera change just at the last second, so we can't tell exactly. It looks like the tag may have just came late, and James did get around it. As now this one's going to be grounded right back up the middle. Throw to second in time for 1. Throw to first for 2. But the run did come in, so Cavalieri scores on the double play.
Trade the run for 2 outs. Early in the game, I can see that situation. I'm a little surprised that Campbell didn't go home with it or try and cut off the guy who was kind of stranded off third. Cavalieri broke to the plate initially.
It almost looked like he hesitated for a sec, looked back at the plate, and then went full steam ahead. Nonetheless, it's 2-2 here. As now Hamilton shows bunt once again, watches it low for ball 1.
I think you see a different throw from Campbell if perhaps it's a tie game already, or the Westerners are already trailing. But if it only ties the game, I agree with the decision to give up a run for 2 outs here.
Now Hamilton tries to bunt it down the third base line, but he pops it out of play and foul along the third base line. So
2 at bats, and Hamilton's tried to do this both
times. Can't lay it down just yet. But I agree. If it's a different scenario, I think the throw might come home to prevent the run. But this early, and that would only be the tying run. Go for the double play. So now this 1-1 tries to lay down the bunt once again. It's off the plate and behind the plate. So 1-2.
Chris Hamilton, phenomenal at baseball, but baseball might have not even been his best sport in high school.
Really wasn't.
He has the New York State record for goals in a season in soccer with 66.
He was incredible at soccer, but he strikes out here for strike 3 to end the third inning, but not before 2-run score for the Gulls off of 2 hits, as they don't leave anyone stranded. But heading into the 4th, it's tied at 2 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the 4th here in Newport, and the Gulls and Westerners are tied at 2. But being the top of the 4th, I'm going to hand it over to my broadcast partner and the voice of the Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg. Jacob, take it away.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us here today. The hospitality of the Gulls has been great for all of us Westerners over here up in the booth and down on the field. And as you said, it's the top of the 4th here, and we're knotted up at 2 runs each after a 2-run inning there by the Gulls. Art Hoven back on the mound for his 4th inning of work, and he's going to face Nick LaRusso in his first at-bat. LaRusso singled up the middle his first time through the order and eventually scored on Jay Curtis's 2-run home run.
What I like about LaRusso, the .302 average, .408 on base. So you know he's a good hitter, smart at bat, 24 RBI, but 28 walks to only 31 strikeouts.
As he takes a fastball down the heart of the plate for strike 1 to start his 2nd time through the order today. Hoven working quickly, the quick delivery to LaRusso. Hits it on the ground to first, Tours Fields, and the flip to Hoven at first for out number 1. One Villanova Wildcat grounds out to the other. In LaRusso to Tours, out number 1 here in the top of the 4th.
And we talked about the connection they had, both playing at the corners for the Wildcats. For LaRusso at the dish, probably not the connection he wanted in that at-bat.
And not so much. I think he'd prefer a repeat of at-bat number 1, but nonetheless it'll bring up Justin Jordan, the Sacred Heart Pioneer, center field today for the Westerners. And he's not your prototypical 6 guy, normally hits in the leadoff spot. Lefty-lefty matchup here, takes a fastball on the inside corner, strike 1.
Yeah, leadoff spot. He has the .314 average, which was 2nd best on the team for Sacred Heart, with the .416 on base, which led the team. And then he has the 12 steals to go with it that we talked about.
As he ropes one up the middle into center field, it'll be a 1-out single for Jordan.
So we just mentioned the 12 steals again. We talked about it earlier in the broadcast, and there came to life the .314 average. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go here.
The Westerners really haven't had too many opportunities to run thus far. McCarthy got thrown out trying to steal in the previous inning. Jordan a little more effective on the base paths. He was 12 for 12, as you said, 2nd on his team. As right now he's a short lead off first. It's a lot tougher to steal against the left-handed pitcher. The slide step on the pitch to Jay Curtis. Fastball taken low, ball 1. Curtis, as anyone who listened knows, hit a 2-run home run in the 2nd inning, which accounted for all the offense for Danbury thus far. As Hoven quick to the mound, and Curtis flares one out of play down the first base side. Hits the streets once again. Everyone's got to take a look out even if you're not at the stadium here in Newport.
No place is safe.
Nobody's safe except for us behind the fence right here. Jordan a short lead off first. Hoven the slide step. Breaking ball in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike to count as Justin Jordan hesitated like he was going to break for 2nd there and then immediately held up after the slide step. Hoven back on the mound, gives Jordan a look. Checks a 2nd time, has the sign. Sets and delivers. Jordan takes off, and another foul ball at a play down the first base side by Curtis. Something the Westerners have liked to do a lot early this season is the hit and run. And it was on right there with Curtis and Jordan.
We do see the Gulls hit and run offensively, but we haven't seen Newport really have to defend the hit and run at all. I'll be interested to see if the Westerners have the hit and run on again here now that they've showed it already.
Jordan, another short lead. The quick delivery by Hoven. Grounded to shortstop is Curtis. A little bit of a bobble, safe at second and safe at first. So a little bit of a bobble by Joey Bellini leads to both runners being safe. It'll be an E6, and that's what comes from Jordan taking off on the delivery. He's able to get to second there, show off the speed on a ball that looked like a tailor-made double play.
Yeah, we actually saw that almost identical play from Bellini yesterday in his debut at Ocean State. A ground ball over to him at short, and as he put his glove down, struggled to, he fielded it kind of cleanly, but as he lifted it up and maybe on the transfer was a little slow and maybe a little bit of a bobble there, so not exactly the cleanest plays over the past two nights.
Brings up Alex Bello with two runners on. No, one out here in the top of the fourth inning. Bello went down swinging his first time up. Takes a hack at the first pitch, grounds it foul out of play down the third base line. Bello might be the one Westerner right now who hasn't been clicking offensively.
Yeah, and he hit 238 this spring for USF, so he's going to want to bring that average up. But it's a long season here in the NECBL, so he has plenty of chances to do so.
The 0-1 to Bello, swings over, a changeup on the outside corner, quickly behind 0-2.
I will say at USF, 238 average, you say he's struggling now. During the spring season, though, he did enjoy a 9-game hit streak. So it's not like he's out there struggling every day. He did enjoy bits of success.
Jordan takes off as Hoven steps off. Justin Jordan caught in a pickle now. Two throws, throw back to third. Jordan still keeping things going, chugging those legs. He's going to be tagged out, trying to slide back into second as Curtis retreats to first. And the Gulls got the out, but that's not your prototypical rundown. The way teams like to do it is one throw, get the guy, and you can get in a lot of trouble when you start throwing the ball around there. I don't even want to try and figure out how we're scoring that.
I think it was a 1-5-4, 1-6. 1-5-4, 1-6.
I'm going to write down caught stealing.
I did all that work for nothing.
Jordan eliminated off the base paths as Bello takes a fastball low. Count moves to 1-2. Curtis still at first, and now two away here in the top of the fourth.
You know, in football they say kickers and punters aren't athletes. In baseball, a lot of times.
As Bello swings over a pitch for strike three on the breaking ball in the dirt. Bender picks it up and throws him out at first base, and the top of the fourth comes to a close. One base hit for the Westerners here. They leave a runner stranded after the caught stealing. It's 2-2 here in Newport on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Jacob Kronberg alongside Stephen Huff and the Gulls field reporter Nick Bello. Bottom of the fourth about to get underway as Brett Vosick, the right fielder of Kansas, going to lead off for the Gulls against Justin Campbell. Campbell's given up 2 runs in 3 innings on the mound so far. And last inning was the first time he looked a little shaky. He was pretty shut down in the first 2 innings against Newport. As we said, leading off Brett Vosick. The Kansas Jayhawk grounded out to Alex Barada at second, his first time through the order.
And I was just talking right before we ended that inning. A lot of times in football they say pitchers and catchers aren't athletes in football. In baseball, pitchers aren't athletes a lot of times. Hoven was absolutely moving down the line.
First pitch laced into right field by Vosick. Leadoff single for the Gulls. They pick up right where they left off in the third inning.
Yeah, that's what the Gulls expect out of Vosick. Big guy, big frame, a lot of power, but see how hard the ball came off his bat. Ripped that one in between the gap at first and second into left. Strong hitter, and he shows right there. Even though it's just a single, they'll take that any day of the week.
Absolutely, especially with Colton Bender due up next, who doubled to the right center field gap his first time up. The Bobcats' leading hitter at Quinnipiac this spring. Sidearm delivery, and Bender ropes it into right field. A one-hopper fielded by Zaffino. Only one base at a time for Vosick, but it'll be runners on first and second now for Ryan Tours.
So back-to-back pitches and back-to-back hard-hit line drives for the Gulls, and both of them were pulled down their respective lines for the hitters. They're starting to jump on Campbell a little bit. I don't know if it's fatigue yet, but maybe just second time through the lineup, they're starting to see him a little bit better.
Campbell also not a guy who normally starts, only started one game for the Green Wave this year.
So it could be fatigue, but...
As Tours digs in and takes a changeup low.
And you said his first appearance for the Westerners earlier this season was out of the pen.
It was out of the pen, 2 1/3 scoreless, 1 hit. Campbell on, doesn't even check the runners, delivers. Grounded up the middle to Bello, he charges. His only option is to first, flips it over there. Throw pulled Bailey off the bag, says the first base umpire, so it'll be bases loaded after the throwing error by Alex Bello.
Yeah, Bello having to charge that one. And I think he had time to throw out Tours. Obviously the throw made it in time, but with his momentum coming forward, didn't pull any steam off of it, and the throw was high and eventually pulled Bailey off the bag as well.
So Zaid Walker has a chance to break this game open, break the tie at least. Bases juiced, nobody out for the Michigan State Spartan. O struck out his first time through the order. Campbell ready. Corners are in for the Westerners. The first pitch, a curve ball, falls into the zone for strike number 1.
Yeah, what a curve. And when they're starting to time you up a little bit if you're Campbell, I think working backwards with your pitches and starting at-bats off with your breaking ball might be a good idea.
0-1 count to Walker. Slider, back foot slider that Walker swings over. Immediately behind to 0-2 in this at-bat. A strikeout would be huge for the Westerners, as then all you need is a double play to end the inning. You just have to put the ball in play here if you're Walker. The 0-2 delivery. Fastball, couple baseball lengths outside, exactly where Ceruto set up, trying to get Walker to chase. As the count's now 1-2. Campbell looks in for the sign, sets, checks, no runners. The 1-2 delivery. Line to short, one hop fielded by Bello. The flip to Barada for 1, the throw to first. Not in time, Walker beats it out. That ball ate up Alex Bello. And the Westerners trade a run for an out. It's now 3-2, the Gulls on top.
Yeah, and a hard hit ball over to short. Honestly, a good play from Bello, because if he doesn't make that, it trickles into center field, and a couple runs score for the Gulls, and there's no out. So after a throwing error from Bello, he makes a terrific play, saves at least a run for now, and gets them an out on the defensive end.
So Austin James has a chance to get another run across for the Newport Gulls. Singled his first time up, did the third baseman at a Mizzou. Campbell checks Walker at first. First pitch grounded, out of play down the first base side.
James only hit 195 this spring for Missouri. Didn't play all their games either, so not the biggest of sample sizes, but 10 of his 17 hits were extra base hits. So you know he does have some pop to his bat, and he is a talented player.
Runners on the corners here for Austin James. Taking off is Walker, and that pitch is laced down the left field line. It'll trickle out of play.
That's exactly the power I was talking about. Now he pulled this one a little bit too much, and it pulled foul, hooked foul into the bullpens, but if he gets a hold of one, it might be off the fence or over the fence if he barrels it cleanly.
Definitely has good pop in that bat. Hard to really put a charge into one against Campbell, who's only throwing in the low to mid 80s. See if Walker runs again. He does. The pitch, fastball taken outside. Ceruto fires to second. And Barada's tag not in time. He's not too thrilled with that call, as Ceruto's throw was a little up. He's got a nice shoot back there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has a nice arm. It's just a little bit high. And Zaid was able to get underneath the tag. Honestly, if the throw was on target a little bit more, a little bit lower, they might have had Zaid out. But it brought up Barada, who was covering. And now two runners in scoring position.
Two runners in scoring position. A free base at first. The 1-2 pitch. Curve ball, swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes James. the 5th strikeout victim against Justin Campbell, and now the Westerners have a chance to get out of this inning, only giving up 1 run. It'll be Greg Cavalieri, who walked and scored his first time up. Cavalieri out of Carmel, New York. I actually had the chance to see him play once in high school, played at Mayapec. Very, very top-notch player back in high school in Section 1.
And he already played in the NECBL last summer, so he's already playing early on in his career and then comes back for another summer. You know he has quite a bit of talent.
Fastball low and away. Ceruto has to dive for it to prevent it from getting back to the backstop. 1-0 the count to Cavalieri.
And with his speed, he's a guy you can plug in either at the top of the lineup or bottom of the lineup and be thrilled about if you're Kevin Winterroth, the coach of the Gulls.
He can absolutely fly as the slider slides a little too far inside. 2-0 count.
And last night, he was great at the dish, 1 for 3 with a double, 2 walks and 2 runs. And then he made a diving play along the left field line that saved a double, maybe a triple for the Gulls.
The 2-0 pitch. Slider swung over and missed by Cavalieri. Tried to get all 3 runs in with that swing. Big, hefty cut from the guy who's not really known for his power.
Yeah, that's not necessarily his trademark, but if he's feeling it, why not?
You do you,
I'll
Greg
let him have
Cavalieri. The 1-2 pitch, grounded foul down the third base side.
And you got to admire Winterroth's effort there. On both arms crossed, he just stares at it as it nearly hits him.
He was just going to take it. He's going to let it hit him.
That's a man's man.
I think Cavalieri would have been running at the next practice if he hit one off Winterroth.
You're probably right.
So Campbell's worked his way back to 2-2. It's 3-2 Gulls here in the bottom of the 4th. Campbell ready to deliver with 2 runners on. Breaking ball popped up in the infield. Bello calling for it. Makes the play with 1 hand to finally retire the side. So after bases loaded and nobody out, the Gulls only get 1 run across but take the lead. For the first time today over the Westerners, we're through 4 here at Cardigan's Field. It's 3-2 Gulls. We'll be right back on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Stephen Hoff to my side. I'm Jacob Kronberg, and 5th inning about to get underway here at Cardigan's Field in Newport, Rhode Island. The Gulls took their first lead of the game in the bottom of last inning. 3-2, they now lead the Westerners. They've scored the last 3 runs in this game, and they scored on a fielder's choice, a really tough play that Alex Bello made following an Alex Bello error.
Yeah, but, you know, you feel bad for Bello out there because he makes a good charging play, couldn't stop his momentum in the throw, pulls the first baseman off the bag, and then he makes a really good play at short, and it saves a run, makes a throw to second, and they couldn't double him up at first. But tough at-bats for him, but defensively, not too shabby, honestly, besides the 1 error. Could have made some adjustments to make it a little bit better, but
it's a tough error.
The second play, incredible.
There's the ability to get your glove on it, let alone make the play.
Yeah, quite impressive.
Jack McCarthy leads off for Danbury in the 5th inning. Art Hoven still on the mound as McCarthy fouls one out of play once again into the streets. And he said this ballpark's really old, one of the oldest in the country, and you can see why. It's just in the middle of downtown. Beautiful area, beautiful field, but just not where you expect to see a ballpark. As McCarthy takes a fastball in the dirt, count evens itself at 1-1.
Yeah, not where you expect to see a ballpark at all. And made in 1908, and it stayed since 1908. And, of course, they built kind of the city around it at this point.
You've got the houses behind the 28-foot fence in center field. I think that's why the fence is that high, to protect the houses. Fastball taken on the outside corner. Count moves to 1-2. McCarthy had 2 hits in the win over Vermont. Also reached on a walk and stole 3 bags in the victory over the Mountaineers. The 2-1 laced up the middle for a leadoff single by McCarthy, who reached on a walk his first time up and was caught stealing. We'll see if he has ideas to run again this time around.
Yeah, this is going to be the longest we've seen Hoven on the mound for the Gulls so far this year. Obviously only 1 start, 1 appearance for him, but he only went 4 innings, or I shouldn't say only, he went 4 innings in his first appearance for Newport with those 8 strikeouts. So this is the first time we've seen him in the 5th.
One runner on for Alex Barada, who's 1 for 2 on the day, but has hit the ball extremely hard both times as Hovind throws over to first. McCarthy dives back in safely. Barada has the leadoff single to start the game and then laced one to left field that Cavalieri was camped right under for in his second at-bat. Hovind checks McCarthy, throws over once again, nearly snagged him over at first base. Hesitation before diving in by McCarthy.
And we saw 2 early pickoff moves from Hovind that were half-hearted, wasn't really trying, just kind of lobbing it over there. And then since then, it's caught 2 guys in a pickle, and then that one was a little bit more deceptive, nearly caught McCarthy out on the wrong foot and nearly picked him off.
It's definitely a nice move, and as a left-handed pitcher, you're at an advantage picking guys off because you can lift the leg up and still throw over to first as a fastball taken on the inside corner to Barada. Barada, a guy we mentioned, can really hit, but his approach is, you hear pitchers throwing backwards. Barada's approach is kind of backwards. He loves the breaking ball.
Oh, really?
Loves the curveball, and it's not something you see by a lot of guys, especially a lot of guys who hit 350.
Yeah.
Takes a big cut here. Flies it down the right field line. That's going to land near the warehouse. No Gull had a chance to go get that one.
And that's something you might expect later in the lineup from the Westerner that was laying off all the fastballs but hitting 300. But then you get Barada at the top of the lineup hitting 356, and he's the one that loves all the breaking balls.
It's a curveball hitting team, and it's worked for the Westerner so far. They're 4-0. As Hovind has the sign, checks McCarthy, delivers on the slide step. Swing and miss by Barada, and the back pick attempt by Colton Bender. Barada goes down hacking, and McCarthy back in safe at first. As the Bearcat goes down swinging, it brings up our Hamilton product, Matt Zaffino, who's walked, was eliminated on a double play, and then struck out looking in his last at-bat. Zaffino's played sparingly in the early season. This only his 3rd game that he started of the 5 and then had the pinch hit home run. Quick pickoff throw. They're really worried about McCarthy. He's in there safely again. That's 4 times they've thrown his direction.
And each time we've seen from Hovind different pickoff moves, and then we saw Bender throw behind the runner.
Hovind checks McCarthy. The slide step delivery laced in the 5.5 hole by Zaffino. McCarthy going to stop at second. And a 1-out single by Matt Zaffino. It'll be 2 runners on for Danbury here in the 5th inning.
That's an interesting tactic for the Gulls. They were anticipating a hit and run when they saw McCarthy take off for second while he was trying to steal on that play for the hit and run to initiate it. Instead of Gustin covering the bag, anticipating the hit and run, they actually had Bellini covering the bag, which opened up the hole in between second and third, short and third, excuse me, which gave way for the hit there.
Zaffino, a guy who does put the ball the other way quite often, as Cameron Ceruto steps into the box. The guy who probably has the most raw power of anyone in the Westerners lineup cranks one to left field. That's a high drive over the fence, a home run right on cue. Cameron Ceruto puts a charge into that one and gives the Westerners back the lead. That's 2 games in a Westerners uniform for the Army West Point catcher, and 2 home runs in the score column for him. A big blast there by Cameron Ceruto.
Yeah, well, he goes to Army for a reason. I mean, he's a national hero, and the easiest thing he does on his days there is play baseball, and it shows. I mean, he made that one look easy as he sent that one out of the ballpark in a hurry.
I wish I was just that good at baseball that it was like my easy thing. He's out there protecting our country. That's what he wants to do with his life. And just comes here in the summer and hits a big 3-run homer as Bailey pops one up and to third baseman Austin James, who backtracks onto the grass to make the play. Brings up Nick LaRusso. You talked about a little earlier, the inning, the 302 guy who takes a lot of fastballs. He also loves the breaking ball then, obviously.
Yeah, and he's 1 for 2 on the day, singled in the second, scored a run, and had a successful spring at Villanova. First pitch from Hovind, lefty on righty matchup. Fastball at the knees, 0-1.
Yeah, another fastball taken by LaRusso, quickly behind 0-1. Hovind delivers a fastball off the outer edge of the plate. Count evens at 1-1. It's now 5-2 Westerners here in the top of the 5th inning, LaRusso steps up with nobody on. The 1-1 pitch. Fouled back into the screen. Strike number 2. LaRusso 1 for 2 on the day. Grounded out to the first baseman, Ryan Tours, his last time up as he takes a check swing on the 1-2 pitch. They're going to say he went around. So that'll be out number 3 as LaRusso goes down swinging. Here to end the top of the 5th. We're halfway through this game. The Westerners lead 5-3. And we'll be right back on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. The Danbury Westerners take back the lead in the top of the 5th inning thanks to a 3-run shot by Cameron Ceruto. His second home run of the season. His second in 2 games with the Westerners as Justin Campbell still on the bump. And this is the most he's pitched in a game as well. It was 2 1/3 in his debut. He's already threw 4 innings on the mound here today and starts inning number 5 at the very least for Danbury.
They're going to be facing off against the top of the lineup once again for the Gulls. Gustin Bellini and Chris Hamilton. So I think this is where the true test comes in for pitchers, the second and third time through the lineup. How do they adjust and how do they keep these hitters who have seen them 2 and now for the 3rd time, how do they keep them on their toes and keep them guessing?
I think Justin Campbell has an advantage when it comes to that with those multiple arm slots and throwing 3 pitches from both of them. It's your basic math. You're multiplying it. There's 6 options you got to worry about instead of just 3 with him on the mound. So I think that'll give him a chance to mix things up a little bit and keep guys on their toes. But once again, he's a reliever. I can't think of the last time he saw the lineup 3 times. As Jacob Gustin leads off, takes a fastball in the lower half of the zone for strike number 1.
Yeah, and you're right. I think with that arm slot and how he keeps guys guessing and mixes his pitches, mixes his arm slot, he has an advantage there.
Fastball taken way outside by Ceruto.
But the thing I worry about is what you alluded to there. He's a reliever or been used as a reliever. Not saying that he can't last this long in a game. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still a ball player. He's still an athlete. So it's not like he's going to hit 3 innings and fall apart.
Fastball on the inside corner. You're exactly right. I asked him before the game. I said, you are usually used out of the bullpen. You were in your first start. How comfortable are you on the mound? And he said, once again, it's just pitching. They'll use me until they think I don't have anything left. As Gustin swings over a slider there, he's just out there for team ball. The ace, the quote-unquote ace of the Westerners this year, Eli Oliphant, is the closer for Fairfield University. Pitched 5 2/3 in the opener for Danbury. So when it comes to summer ball, I'm sure you've noticed it too. Everything just kind of gets a little wacky when it comes to pitching.
Certainly. At the end of the day, it's just like I said. These guys are ball players and these guys are athletes. And so what it comes down to is this pitch missed low and away. 2-2.
Full count, actually.
Full count, excuse me. They're just going to go out there and work it until their coach thinks they need to be pulled, and time will tell.
The full count pitch laced into right center field by Gustin. McCarthy cuts it off in the gap and holds the Bryant Bulldog at first base. And so this second hit of the day for Gustin.
This is a great learning experience for the pitchers, for the coaches to see what these guys have to offer. And maybe he turns out he can go 5, 6, 7 innings in a game and be great, and then go back in the spring and turn into an excellent closer for whatever team, whichever pitcher's on the mound for their team in the spring.
Definitely a possibility, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Westerners bullpen got stirring here a little bit. Gave up a handful of base runners. Last inning, a leadoff single here. It's the heart of the order.
Yeah, certainly, and especially here, especially early in the season, they like to rotate guys, see what each arm has moving forward, give everyone an opportunity.
Fastball taken outside, yes. For Danbury, nobody threw more than once until everybody got a rep. Everyone got their first rep before we started doubling up. As Bellini swings over a breaking ball, count even at 1-1. Joseph Bellini made his debut the other night for the Gulls. Last night, if I'm not mistaken, it was stellar. Today, he's got a strikeout in a double play against a very deceiving pitcher in Campbell. The 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball, taken low and away, hopped in the dirt, and picked by Ceruto.
But with this deceiving pitcher, I think this might be the time for Newport to jump on the scoreboard a little bit more because now they've seen him.
2-1 pitch, fastball taken on the outer edge.
they've seen what he has to offer. They've seen his arm slots. They've seen his pitches. Now they can time him up a little bit better. So this might be their best opportunity to climb back into this ball game.
They've definitely looked much better in innings 4 and 5 than they did in 1 and 2. The big curveball swung over and missed by Joey Bellini. Out number 1 here in the 5th inning. Gustin still at first base. Bellini has struggled to pick up the ball on Campbell. I think it's just something you're not used to. He goes to Cincinnati, which is the AAC, great baseball school, but I'm sure there aren't a lot of conferences where you're going to run into the guys who throw over the top and sidearm and a curveball and a slider and a mix of everything that moves.
Yeah, it's very unorthodox and very unique, so you're not going to see it often.
The shift once again against Chris Hamilton, the Stony Brook product, who's gone down swinging twice today. Gustin takes off, fastball low, the throw by Cerruto. Gustin in there safely, just in the nick of time on the stolen base. LaRusso arguing a little bit about that call. That's 2 steals that the Gulls have, and both of the infielders for Danbury not too thrilled about him.
We're going to get a replay here from our center field cam, the newest addition to the Gulls this season.
It's tough to tell with the camera moving back and forth. I think he got in there, though, did Gustin, as he's now in scoring position. And the 1-0 count to Hamilton, the designated hitter tonight for the Gulls. The 1-0 pitch, grounded to first. Big hop, Bailey makes the play on the foul ball. So by not charging that baseball, may have let it go foul there. As Hamilton, I guess, gets another life.
Yeah, he's staying alive, and it's interesting. He doesn't seem as comfortable in the box this game because I think the shift, this is the first time he's seeing the shift in the NECBL this season.
The Westerners haven't shifted many guys, but they're a team that this year has tried to dive into analytics. As Josh Parrish says that we have our own Jonah Hill from Moneyball.
You talked about how team has a little bit more of a sabermetrics approach, especially in the lineup, and now we're seeing it here defensively, and now actually with 2 strikes, they're not shifting against Hamilton.
Looks like there's action in both bullpens as Nick Borek looks to be up for the Westerners.
And it's Mackenzie Stills for the Gulls.
1-1 count to Hamilton. Campbell gives a look to second for Gustin. Breaking ball on a back pick attempt. Bello able to dive away and make the play.
What I like about Bello there, he acted like he missed the ball, the throw, and he acted like it ended up in center field.
He's one of the team clowns.
He's the crafty play from him.
As they're going to call a swing on the check swing there by Hamilton, who clearly went around. As Hamilton calls time, Campbell steps off. Yeah, Bello and the guy warming up, Nick Borek, probably 2 of the bigger personalities that the Westerners have developed in the early season. Not too shy. The 1-2 pitch, big curve ball, swing and a miss by Hamilton as he goes down swinging, and that's the hat trick for him. We got the big hockey game tonight, and we got a hat trick on the field right now.
Yeah, nice curveball there from Campbell on the mound, and he's starting to feel that a little bit more as the game's gone on. It seems like he's gone to it a little bit more often, and when he has, it's worked out.
Definitely been using it more as a put-away pitch today than I alluded to in the beginning or expected, as he struck out 2 in a row. Now facing Brett Vosick, who takes a fastball in the inside corner, strike 1. Vosick kicked off the 4th inning for the Gulls with that leadoff single. Eventually was the runner to come around to score. He's behind at an 0-1 count here. Campbell checks Gustin at second, gives a second look, lifts his leg and delivers. Slider in the dirt. Nice block by Cerruto.
Yeah, excellent block.
Stays put.
Excellent block from Cerruto there. Now, with the not huge room behind home plate, I don't know if Gustin would have gone there, especially with 2 outs. You don't want to make the last out at third, but incredible play behind the plate there from Cerruto to keep it in front.
Nice job to hop out of the crouch and get on his knees to make that play. It's a 1-1 count to Vosick. Ooh. Slider that didn't quite have any break to it. Vosick takes it in the leg. It's a hit by pitch, something that along with the walk, the Westerners have struggled with pitching-wise this year. See that pitch there, just had no tail on it on the replay. Trying to come across his body with the slider and just didn't get the slide part of the slider.
On the bright side, it didn't have too much velocity to it, and so it doesn't look like it'll sting too much for Vosick, but if you're Campbell, 2 outs, you don't want to put any free bags on.
Pat O'Neill, the pitching coach of the Westerners, going to take the trip out to talk to Campbell as he's about to face Colton Bender, who's been the most dangerous hitter today and probably in the early season for the Gulls. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's really risen for the Gulls lately. He came, made his debut for Newport this past weekend, actually in New Bedford. Had 2 late hits as that game went into extras, had an RBI single in the 11th that gave them an insurance run, and threw 3 runners out behind the plate during the game, made a catch, diving catch behind the plate. So he's on the offensive end, he's working, defensive end, he's working. Sometimes when he's out there, it's a man amongst boys. He's incredible.
He's 2 for 2 today, and both the catchers have put on a show this evening here in Newport. Ceruto with the home run, Bender 2 for 2. A chance to add another run and help mount this comeback. I don't know if we can call it a comeback in the 5th inning, but the Gulls do trail 5-3 here as the meeting on the mound is done. Campbell, the 0-0 pitch to Bender, fastball taken low and away, ball 1. Gustin on second base and Vasic on first, the 2 runners. Campbell taking his time on the mound. The 1-0 pitch, fastball, fouled into the screen on the left side. And you see Bender's got the really quick hands, really quick bat speed. As sure you said, it's not the fastest fastball in the world, but extremely early in that, pulled it into like the second link down the left field line.
Yeah, quick hands, just a pure hitter, honestly. Sees the ball really well and attacks it really well.
You've seen him go to both gaps so far today as he takes the 1-1 pitch, a fastball out. He doubled to right center field in his first at-bat and then pulled one down the left field line, so all that's left is center field for him.
Then he has the hat trick in the outfield.
The 2-1 pitch, breaking ball, trickled at a play down the left side.
Second link again.
He's way ahead of this ball, and I think if you're Campbell, you got to be a little worried that if he's gains the ability to wait back, he's going to put a charge into this ball. He's a guy who's got some serious strength back there, and like I said, he's just a pure hitter.
Yeah, and a guy that's seeing it well. You got to worry if you're Campbell if you leave one over the plate.
The 2-2 fastball taken up at the eyes. Ball 3, and Colton Bender, for a guy who's so strong, only stands at about 5'8". Yeah, not a very big guy as a backstop for the Gulls.
Not as small as Jose Altuve, but reminds you almost of just a smaller guy that hits the ball for average and hits it with some power, too.
The full count pitch to Bender. Fouled back into Ceruto's mitt. He couldn't quite hold on. You see, he exerts a little bit of frustration there.
Altuve, I think they list him at 5'6". That might be a little.
He's listed at 5'6".
I think that might be generous. It might be actually a little bit smaller.
Big thing amongst all athletes. It seems like they always get listed a little higher.
I think my driver's license does the same, but
mine's a little lower. I've grown since I was 16. And the payoff pitch, fastball inside, and Bender draws a walk. So we've seen a single, a hit by pitch, and a walk this inning. And it's led to another bases-loaded jam for the Westerners as they're going to try and escape the second inning in a row. And Ryan Tours, the man trying to tie the game up here for the Gulls.
We talked about Bender being a good hitter. That's a characteristic of a good hitter, battling, and in that at-bat working a walk.
Bases loaded, 2 away, and Tours swings over a slider on the first pitch. 0-1. Grounded out to first base in his first at-bat and then reached on that throwing error by Bello last time up. So a technical 0 for 2. He's been on base once. The 0-1 pitch. That big hook falls in on the outer part of the plate, called strike, and quickly behind 0-2 is Tours.
Yeah, with the bases loaded, 2 away, this isn't the spot you want to be in for Tours, so he's going to have to battle back in this count.
Campbell likes to go to the fastball up in these situations as they call time to regroup. I think it was actually Ceruto behind the plate who wanted to rerun through the signs with Campbell. As he digs in, ready for the 0-2, he's got the sign. Doesn't check the runners. The big leg kick and a big hook. Stays away from the fastball, which had been used as his put-away pitch through most of the spring. Tours able to foul it away and stay alive.
But I think with a fastball that's mid, maybe upper 80s, probably mid-80s, if you're putting that high and you leave it just over the plate, Tours might be licking his lips at that one.
Another 0-2 pitch. Slider taken just off the outside edge of the plate. It's a 1-2 count now.
I like what Campbell's doing. 0-2 count, not coming over the plate just yet. Still seeing if Tours is going to be a little aggressive and chase at something that he can't hit or he can't hit well.
1-2 pitch. Slider swung over and missed by Tours as Campbell just racks up another strikeout victim. Ends up striking out the side this inning with a few base runners in between. All of them swinging. We're through 5 innings of play. The Westerners still lead the Gulls 5-3 here in Newport on the NECBL Broadcast Network. We'll be right back after this break.
Franklin.
Welcome back here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. We enter the 6th inning here at Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island, and we've got our first pitching change of the evening. It's on behalf of the Newport Gulls. They bring in Vanderbilt product Mackenzie Stills. Tell us a little bit about Mackenzie, Stephen.
Stills, he doesn't stand very tall on the mound, but his stuff is absolutely electrifying. Didn't pitch this spring for Vanderbilt. They don't rotate their guys very much, but they're going to start using him in future seasons. This guy is absolutely incredible. He pitched this past weekend against Keene, pitched 2 scoreless innings, didn't give up a hit, only had 1 strikeout, but he has a fastball that reaches mid-90s. Actually, might sit mid-90s.
That's a lot harder than anyone we've seen so far today.
And look at him. He doesn't reach 6 foot on the mound. He's not that tall, doesn't look that intimidating, but his stuff is filthy. Fastball that sits or reaches mid-90s, and then he has a slider to go along with it. You have that fastball-slider combo. That's a really good start to his repertoire. Once you start seeing his stuff, it's electrifying. That's where the intimidating presence comes in.
Dare we say Marcus Stroman?
Marcus Stroman, you might even think Jordan Hicks at this point.
Hicks.
Obviously, he's going to want to get...
it's tough to say, compare someone to 101.
Right.
104.
Right. But at this point in his career, it's a great start. With the fastball-slider combo, that's more what you think about with the Jordan Hicks.
Mackenzie Stills' first pitch of the day. That mid-90s fastball taken low by Jordan as he showed bunt. And we spoke a little bit today about connections between the Gulls and the Westerners, and I've got another one for you. Mackenzie Stills, as he's ready for the 1-0, fastball up in the zone. Jordan fouls it back. Actually played travel baseball with the Westerners' Joe Mancini growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Joe Mancini, a pitcher over at Boston College. Expected to start in a couple of days. I think he has the Sunday start this week for Danbury. Pitched against New Bedford earlier in the year. As Jordan takes a fastball low and in, count moves to 2-1. But those two have played some travel ball together. So just another connection between these, I guess, rivals who seem like they should be friends at this rate with everyone knowing
each other.
Jordan takes a hack at the 2-1 fastball, fouls it back to the cage. You're right, though. Stills is pumping heat right now as Joe Mancini walks by.
Stills was impressive against Keene, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has had a couple nice innings out here today.
Fastball on the inside corner gets Jordan looking. Second time he's gone down looking today. He's got the single sandwiched in between. As Jay Curtis, the 4th, steps up to the plate, who got the offense started today with a big 2-run homer.
So, of course, with Stills coming in for relief, that ends the day officially for Art Hoban. He went 5 innings pitched, gave up 8 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, all 5 coming off the long ball. Gave up 2 walks while striking out 6.
Stills ready for the first pitch to Curtis. Fastball on the outside corner, strike 1. He's pumping heat and he's pumping the zone right now, Steven.
Yeah, he's a guy, has good control with that fastball and the slider. He really does have it all.
There's the look at the slider, bounces.
Still has good velocity on that, too.
A lot of guys, we've seen that more and more as you get through the college and major league ranks. The slider, which used to be a pitch that if you threw 95 was about still 8 to 10 miles per hour slower. See a handful of guys who throw the slider at 91, 92 now, and I don't know how you hit a pitch that hard that moves like that. As Curtis grounds one to short, Bellini fields, fires to first for out number 2. A quick first 2 outs of the inning for Mackenzie Stills.
More on Stills. Coming out of high school, he was the 8th ranked right-handed pitcher in the state of Georgia, 26th ranked player overall in the state according to Perfect Game. He spent last summer with the Worcester Braves of the Future Collegiate Baseball League, where he had 36 strikeouts while surrendering just 10 earned runs across 38 innings pitched. So 36 strikeouts in 38 innings pitched.
He can definitely hurdle on the mound.
Yeah, pretty good summer.
First pitch to Bello. Alex Bello, not Nick Bello, who's in the booth with us. Fastball taken outside, 1-0 the count.
We already asked, no relation.
No, not at all. That'd be kind of cool, though, if I could do both at once.
Well, we didn't say you were the same person. We asked if you were related. He could be your cousin.
No, I know, but before you alluded to me being him at the same time.
That's true.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be.
Would you have the headset on down there like they do in like the All-Star game and stuff?
See, that would be awesome if we could do that. If we could.
We could get some lav mics maybe.
There's a slider out of the hand of Stills. Stays up. Didn't have quite as much break as he would have liked on it. Counts 2-1 to Alex Bello, shortstop from the University of South Florida. Stills quickly ready with the 2-1. Fastball taken in the dirt. 3-1. A good hitter's count here for Bello, trying to get his first base knock of the day.
You got to feel bad for Bello, though. Struggling so far this summer. Then he faces off against Art Hoven. Now he has to face off against Mackenzie Stills.
As he grounds one down to third, fielded by James, fires across the diamond, and Tours can't quite corral the throw. Will likely be an error on Tours down at first base, as Bello will take any break he can catch. But that should have been the end of the inning for the Gulls.
It should have been, but as I was saying for Bello, struggling hitter at the plate, you're going to take any chance you can get on base. He doesn't really care how at this point. He's on first, and that's all that matters.
I'm sure he's got the same mentality right now. Yeah, you just voiced. So it'll be a runner on here in the 6th inning. The Westerners lead 5-3 over the Gulls. Jack McCarthy steps in, who's walked and singled so far today. Scored on the Ceruto home run. Bello, a fake steal, and the fastball to McCarthy taken on the outside corner.
And you could just hear the pop in the glove from Stills to Bender. Probably the loudest we've heard all day. You could hear it over our headphones.
He's definitely throwing hard. Mid-90s was no joke when you were talking about him. The 0-1 pitch, another fastball taken right down the heart of the plate. McCarthy in an 0-2 hole here with 2 away. By far the hardest thrower that Danbury has seen this year. They've got a couple of guys who throw gas on their team as well, like Brandon Backman and Emmett Sheehan, who started the other day against Vermont. Bello takes off on the 0-2. McCarthy flies one up and out of play down the right field line, and be wary on the streets and then come in and watch the baseball game. Pick up the baseball, come bring it back to us, because as you said, you guys lose a lot here in batting practice thanks to Tours and Hamilton.
Well, I thought Ocean State does a great promo. Every foul ball, if you bring it back, they give you $1.
Really? You get a hot dog at Danbury if you bring a foul ball back.
I'm hungry and just graduated college, so.
Any free hot dog you'll take.
And $1. I was thinking about leaving the booth at Ocean State.
It should be like, who were you calling with, Tim or Andrew?
I was calling with Andrew. Tim was graduating that day.
Didn't like Andrew. Take this inning for a second. I need to pick up a couple bucks real quick.
Or take the next 3.
As it's a 1-2 count to McCarthy. Took the slider outside. Stills gives Bello a look. He takes off on the 1-2, and another ball fouled out of play by McCarthy. He's starting to catch up a little bit with the fastball, but still tailing a little late on the 94 cheese.
Yeah, it's tough to catch up to at first, and I think that's the advantage Stills has coming out of the bullpen. Guys aren't going to see it as well at first, and it's going to take some time to catch up to. But like I said, going back to Campbell too, second, third time through the lineup, and so as a reliever, you don't really have to face that as much. So I think that's why he's an ace reliever coming out of the pen for the Gulls.
And a pickoff attempt. Bello back in with ease. And
how fast do you think that throw over to first was? Even that had some pop to it.
Yeah. I think everything that comes out of his hand right now is in the mid-90s. But it helps when you follow a guy like Art Hoven, who doesn't throw quite that hard, more of a finesse pitcher, likes his breaking stuff, maybe touches 90.
Yeah.
And another 1-2 pitch, the slider, and a nasty one as McCarthy goes down swinging to end the top of the 6th. 1 base runner and no runs across for Danbury here in inning number 6. They still lead the Gulls, though, 5-3. We'll be right back. on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back here on the NECBL Broadcast Network, and just to match the goals, the Westerners have their first pitching change of the day. They bring in Nick Borick, the Baldwinsville, New York native, so he's from right where I go to school up near Syracuse, New York. He's got one outing on the year thus far as the Eastern Kentucky product. He threw a scoreless inning with a couple of strikeouts against Upper Valley this past weekend. That's, as I said, his only outing of the year, and he played all right for Eastern Kentucky this year. His ERA was 5.02. 2 wins, 2 losses. Didn't pitch that much. Only 10 2/3 innings, but he struck out 15. He's a guy who likes to pump cheese. He throws pretty hard himself, and he's got a bit of an old-school windup if you watch him. Big leg kick, really rears back and puts everything into every pitch. Fastball, curveball is the combination that he rolls with, and a changeup as well. The changeup actually, what he says is probably his put-away pitch. That's what he uses most at Eastern Kentucky. But we haven't seen much out of him so far for Danbury, as they've only played 4 games. Supposed to play yesterday, got rained out, and there's rain in the forecast tomorrow as well, unfortunately. But Borick getting his second outing of the year. A JUCO product from Spartanburg Methodist down in South Carolina. But it was a little unconventional down there. He redshirted his sophomore year at the JUCO, so he could have a potential 3 years of eligibility at Eastern Kentucky.
You don't see that often coming out of JUCO. I like how he kind of rears back in his windup and his delivery.
It's really old school, and
it really is.
Another guy just kind of has a bit of a deception aspect to his windup.
So that will end the day for Justin Campbell, the starter for Danbury. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, striking out 8 while only walking 1. So successful outing, especially when you're looking out strikeouts to walks.
8-1. Can't ask for a much better ratio than that.
Yeah, that's about all you could ask for. And
think we get an Art Hoven comment out of him as well. 8 strikeouts and too many walks for Hoven. Do you think 1's too many?
Yeah.
I guess it's worse than 0 if we want to play that card. But Nick Borick, another strikeout pitcher, takes the mound as aforementioned. For the Westerners here in the bottom of the 6th, Zaid Walker, the Spartan out of Michigan State, leads off, patrolling center field today. First pitch by Borick, in on the hands, grounded right back to him as he trots over to first and underhands to Vinny Bailey. 1 pitch, 1 out for Nick Borick.
Yeah, that's efficiency at its finest, isn't it?
I would say so.
He'll take that any day.
He's going to be a little unhappy. We're talking on the bus ride up. He and I actually sit next to each other on the bus.
Yeah.
And he had 2 strikeouts. He was very happy that his Ks per 9 was 54 right now. So he's going to have to strike out these next 2 if he wants to keep that.
That's a tough mark to keep up.
The only guy on the team with a higher one is Emmett Sheehan, whose Ks per 9 right now is 63, as he struck out 7 of his 9 outs in his start against Vermont as a fastball taken low and away by Austin James.
Well, I was going to say that's early season ratios for you, but 7 for 9 is quite impressive.
That's a legitimate outing.
Yeah.
The 1-0, line to third. LaRusso can't make the play. Bello picks up and throws a ground ball to Vinny Bailey.
I love the effort, at least, from Bello. And now he gives a half hug to the third baseman.
That's going to be an error on LaRusso, as the line drive just kind of ate him up. Bello, I think he was already on his stomach when he released that ball, if you look at the replay.
Now, it was a hard hit ball over to LaRusso, to give him some credit.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard hit ball. Hard to react and squeeze that, but it was right. He had it in his glove.
He did have it in his glove, yeah.
So it'll be an E5 as Greg Cavalieri steps up to the plate, this time from the left-hand side. He's a switch hitter, as Borick's a righty. Big leadoff first for James. Borick, pickoff attempt off the top of the glove of Bailey into right field.
So back-to-back errors. And now the Gulls have a runner in scoring position.
Yes, and not what you want if you're the Westerners as we get later in this game. You lead by 2. And Austin James shouldn't be on base in the first place, as you said, and then you throw a pickoff attempt away. Those are your basic things you work on. Borick really tried to get him leaning there or something, because that was no gimme throw. That was a full wind-up delivery throw to first base.
Right.
Borek gives a look to second base, and a pickoff attempt to second, nearly thrown into center field.
He's lucky that got deflected and bounced on over to Barada.
As Bellows gonna walk out and make sure Nick Borek takes a deep breath.
Boy, I got to admit, I love Nick Bellows' energy.
Alex Bellow?
Alex Bellow, excuse me. I love
Why,
Nick
thank you.
Bellow.
That's
I
Nick Bellow.
also love your energy.
I thought you were
Appreciate
just
it.
combining our pitcher and our
I
shortstop
love them
right
both.
there.
I love them both. I love both their energies. Appreciate it.
Little jackrabbit out there is Alex Bellow. Just always a ball energy. The Energizer Bunny. That's what he is. As still no pitch has been delivered to Cavalieri. Maybe we get one this time around as Borek delivers a fastball off the outside part of the plate, ball 1.
Yeah, Cavalieri at the dish 0 for 1 today, but worked a walk in the third and came around to score. And this is a chance for him. Spark that lineup at the bottom, flip it over for the top of the lineup to get things going as well, and start bringing in the runs for the Gulls comeback here.
Borek has the sign, gives a double take to James, delivers. Fastball nubbed back to the backstop off the hand of Ceruto. As he's going to walk that one off. That one definitely jammed some fingers of Cameron Ceruto.
Yeah, we talked about catchers just getting beat up. That one, tougher one to walk off. He's going to be feeling that one every single pitch.
As Josh Parrow, the manager of the Westerners, comes out to check. And I can tell you one thing. He's going to have to drag Cameron Ceruto out of this ball game.
Yeah.
He's a trooper, a literal trooper
Yeah.
for the U.S. Army. And he's going to stay in this ball game in any means necessary.
Yeah, you're right. I said it's a tougher one to walk off, and he's going to be feeling that one every pitch. I forgot who I was talking about. He may barely be feeling that one as the trainer comes over, but you're right. He's not coming off the field for anything.
Yeah,
he's going to be all right.
Unless the trainer tells him he has to.
Yeah.
You have Jay Curtis IV, who's DHing tonight, who would move into the catching role. He's the only other listed catcher on the team, as the Westerners originally had Tyler Saricchio signed at the start of the season. He left after game number 1. They do have another catcher who's expected to report shortly, Sonny Uliana, another University of Rhode Island Ram. He's currently up in the Cape, as Luke Brown was earlier. Luke Brown, another guy that the Westerners just added today out of John A. Logan Community College, headed to Louisville in the fall.
So adding some top-notch talent there in the summer leagues.
They're going to test out Ceruto's hand here to see how it is catching the ball. It looked like it took him on the pinky finger area, that outside part of your hand. So it would be tough to squeeze the ball. You're going to have to use your thumb a lot more than that catcher's mitt. And he's catching it, but it doesn't look very natural right now.
And he kind of shaked his head like, it's all right.
We're going to give this a shot.
I admire his tenacity moving forward, and I wouldn't expect anything less from him.
He's a building back there, is Cameron Ceruto. As there's a 1-1 count to Cavaliers, who bring you back to game action, 5-3. Westerners over the Gulls. The 1-1 pitch. Fastball grounded down to Vinny Bailey. Fields flips to Borek. Race to the bag at first. And out is Greg Cavalieri. He can really book it down the line, especially out of the left-handed batter's box.
Yeah, that's what we talk about with Cavalier. That's probably his best attribute, is that speed. 15 stolen bases in the NECBL last summer, and he's already gotten one here this summer. And you see his speed running down the first base line. Nearly beat that out, beating Borek nearly to the bag at first.
As Jacob Gustin steps into the box, 2 for 3 on the day and an RBI. Singles in his last 2 at-bats. He's got a runner on third here, so any base knock will score him. As he takes a curve ball, lands in the upper half of the zone. Called strike 1 to Jacob Gustin.
Gustin tying run right now for the Gulls. Does have 1 home run on the year, but it did come in keen.
The 0-1 pitch popped up in the infield. Vinny Bailey's got a beat on it. He's under it, uses 2 hands to make the play. And that'll be the end of 6 innings of play here in Newport. No runs across that inning for the Gulls, so the score remains 5-3. We're through 6 And when we come back here in the top of the 7th, we're going to send it right back to my partner, Stephen Huff. He's going to finish this game off for you guys on play-by-play. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back with the last third of the game here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
The New
Welcome back here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. I want to give a big thanks to everyone who tuned in. For my segment on play-by-play, I'm going to send it right back to the fantastic Stephen Huff here to take you guys home. Once again, quick score recap. The Westerners lead 5-3 here at Cardines Field in Newport. And take it away, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen Huff here, the voice of the Newport Gulls, alongside the voice of the Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg, who took us through the last 3 innings. And joining us in the booth, of course, is the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello.
Not the Westerner shortstop.
Not the Westerner shortstop, Alex Bello. Had a quick mix-up, but we got it figured out. Thank you, fellas. It is a tight one here, 2-run ball game. Gulls trail 5-3 to the Westerners. Still on the mound for the Gulls in his 2nd inning of relief is Mackenzie Stills, the Vanderbilt rising sophomore. He will face off in the top of the 7th against Barada, the leadoff man for the Westerners. First pitch from Stills, fastball on the outside edge, half swing from Barada, but it was in the zone anyways for strike 1.
Yeah, Barada went down swinging his last at-bat after hitting 2 baseballs really hard his first 2 times up.
Now this second pitch slider is going to be chopped over to Bellini at short. He gloves it and throws the first in time for a quick out, number 1. So Stills making quick work so far through 1 1/3 innings pitched. Has 2 strikeouts, and the only base runner that the Westerners have is by virtue of an error. And it was a fielding error of Tours at first, and it should have been an out, but it just popped out of his glove after he nearly had it. So an impressive outing for Stills so far, as we're seeing a pinch hitter for the Westerner, Luke Brown.
Luke Brown, the newest Danbury Westerner. I mentioned him briefly before, from John A. Logan Community College in Illinois, as he squares to bunt there. He's the newest guy. He joined the team yesterday for practice. This was his first trip with them, and one word to describe this guy: fast. 66 stolen bases this spring, and get this, I'm talking to him. He didn't even lead the league.
Wow.
Someone had 71 at the two-go level, but 66 is astonishing. He's heading to Louisville in the fall. So clearly he can play some baseball.
It's 0-1 pitch.
He hit 398 to go along with that. Every time on, he says, I look to steal second and then third. I think stealing third is easier, is what he tells me.
Wow. It's that 0-1 pitch chopped behind the plate and into the screen, 0-2. So he hit nearly 400 and stole nearly 70 bags in the meantime. That was his side job here in JUCO as he swings and misses at this 0-2 pitch for strike 3. 2 away here in the top of the 7th. Cameron Ceruto, the catcher that got beat up but stayed in the game for the Westerners, is due up for his 4th plate appearance here tonight. 3 for 4, grounded out into a double play in the 1st, but since then singled in the 3rd and hit a 3-run blast in the 5th. That got out of here in a hurry.
He's the deciding factor right now. A lot of game left, though.
This first pitch to Ceruto, he was all over that fastball, and he hit it a hard one over, foul towards the third base line.
I guess his hand's all right.
Yeah.
Really pulled that ball.
That answers that question. Stills looks on out of the windup on the 0-1. Slider, and Ceruto pops this one up behind the plate, and it's going to go into the stands. Off the bleachers. Fan ducking out of the way, thankfully, and into the streets of Newport it goes.
You got to like Stills' baseball IQ, that after Ceruto was really on that first fastball, able to be early on to drop the slider in there and just kind of
keep him guessing a little bit as he comes back with the slider, but misses inside for ball 1.
Yeah, keep him on his toes. He beat me to the punchline. Buckled his knees a little bit too. He hasn't seen a slider that sharp following a lower 90s fastball.
So 2 straight sliders from Stills, and now he comes back with a pitch that misses up and away. So count now even at 2. So 2 away here in the top of the 7th. The Gulls trail the Westerners 5-3. This pitch misses low and away, so count now full. Ceruto battling back.
Ceruto, somewhat of a homegrown guy for Danbury out of Torrington, Connecticut. He was all-state in the state of Connecticut in high school, and as we said, he's right now at the United States Military Academy, Army West Point.
On the payoff pitch from Stills. Pumps, kicks, delivers. He's going to catch Ceruto swinging. 4th strikeout of the day for Stills on the mound, and that'll end things here in the top of the 7th. Heading into the bottom of the 7th, the Gulls trail the Westerners 5-3 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. The bottom of the 7th here at Cardines Field. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg, and the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. Thank you both for joining me as the Gulls trail the Westerners 5-3. Still on the mound for the Westerners is Nick Borick, as he will face off against the 2-3-4 hitters for the Gulls. Joey Bellini of Cincinnati will lead things off for Newport. He's 0 for 3 on the day after a successful debut last night, but tonight he's struggling at the plate. 2 strikeouts, and he grounded out into a 1-6-3 double play in the 3rd.
Yeah, Joey Bellini, he's at Cincinnati now, but he's a JUCO product, as are many guys in this league.
Yeah, he originally committed to Kentucky, then went to JUCO, and now he's back at Cincinnati, back in Division I ball. This past spring, he hit .298 for Cincinnati, led the team in average doubles, and was 2nd on the team in hits and on-base percentage at .374.
He's got some baseball that runs in his blood, too. His Joe Bellini, his cousin, second cousin, Eric Carros, used to play for the Dodgers. And if you guys at home know Ryan Yarbrough of the Tampa Bay Rays, also related. He's the brother-in-law of Joey Bellini. So
not necessarily in the blood, but at least in the family with Yarbrough.
Keep it in the family, the baseball skill, because Joey Bellini is some type of ball player as well. He's at .298 or .289 at Cincinnati.
.298 this past spring. Of course, Yarbrough, one of the featuring or headliners for that bullpenning squad last year for the Tampa Bay Rays. It's really the go-to guy for him. As this first pitch to Bellini, chopped over to shortstop, but LaRusso's going to take it at 3rd and throw to 1st in time for out number 1. So quick out to start things off here in the bottom of the 7th. That will bring up first baseman Chris Hamilton. And we're going to see the Westerners shift once again. We talked about the Tampa Bay Rays, one of the more analytically minded teams in the pros, and now the Westerners taking a page out of their notebooks with some analytics of their own. Hamilton did try to bunt in his first two at-bats, but failed to do so, bunting both of them foul down the 3rd base line, popping them both foul towards the fence as he watches this first pitch in there for strike 1.
Something I've noticed about Borick that I really like is the fastball and curveball come out of the same arm slot, and there's a lot of late break on the curve.
Now this fastball is going to be flown into center. Going back is Jordan, but he's underneath it. Nice route he took for an out number 2. And that ball had a charge underneath it. For a second, I thought it had a chance to at least bounce off the wall for a double. But what an excellent route from Jordan in center. And a lot of time we don't give the defensive guys enough love out there.
He plays a fantastic center field. Manager Josh Parrow told me, I don't know if it was an exaggeration or not, but he said this guy, JJ, is what they call, could play Major League center field right now.
Yeah, and with that route, I don't know if we got it the whole time on our cameras, but it was an exceptional route. He was tracking it the whole way and eventually came away with the catch, obviously. It's this first pitch to Brett Vosick of Kansas, fastball low for ball 1.
Yeah, Brett Vosick from your home state, Nebraska.
Same city, actually,
Same
Omaha.
City.
Yep, we know some of the same guys. We were chatting before the Keene game. Is this 1-0 pitch? Slider misses low, 2-0. I actually played baseball growing up with some guys that were a year older than him at Creighton Prep, where he went to school. Of course, he's much better than me. There's a reason he's there and I'm here.
He's playing, you're talking.
Yep. So now this 2-0 to Vosick. Fastball going to be grounded over the head of the pitcher, thrown to first in time, though, off the hands of Bello for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for the Gulls in the 7th, heading into the 8th. Gulls trail 5-3 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
New England League is the most competitive brand.
4, 5, 6 hitters due up for the Westerners here in the top of the 8th. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg, and the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. Mackenzie Stills is still on the mound for the Newport Gulls here in the 8th inning. He faces off against Vinny Bailey, the first baseman of the Westerners.
Both relievers have been fantastic so far today. Stills, you said, entering his 3rd inning. And then Nick Borek, 2 scoreless innings as well. Reliever hasn't given up a run.
This first pitch fastball to Bailey misses outside for ball 1. You're right. Both coming out of the bullpen and looking outstanding so far.
Both throwing much harder than their starter, their respective starter as well.
Now this 1-0 comes inside and off the home plate umpire. He's going to have to take a waltz around the field. He's walking it off rather swiftly as that pitch missed inside for ball 2, and I can't blame him. I don't want to get in front of anything Stills is tossing.
That had to be a cross-up, you would think. Because even if you're expecting fastball, a guy like Bender is going to probably be able to get from side to side of the plate. You had to think he was looking the slider outside there, and the fastball ran up and in.
Especially an exceptional catcher, defensive catcher like Colton Bender. Now we're seeing the home plate umpire past third base, nearly into left field. He's in foul territory. We have an athletic trainer running out there to talk to him.
Your arm can go numb from those. I've seen it back when I was in high school playing. Someone threw a fastball, there's a cross-up, and the umpire's arm actually went numb. And was brought to the emergency room.
He is trying to grip. He's flexing his arm, his hand, his fingers right now. As the third base umpire was consoling him and now is going back to his mainstay along the line at third base. Now the home plate umpire is going back behind the plate. He looks to shake off the athletic trainer, and he looks to stay in the game.
Talk about tough catchers. We got ourselves a tough umpire today.
Yeah. If the fans give him a round of applause, deservingly so. I can't imagine getting in front of that. I took a ball in BP today, and that was enough for me. But let alone a fastball coming in the mid-90s.
You got hit with one in batting practice?
Yeah. We were doing a pregame routine. I was talking to one of the interns here and took one off the stomach, actually. This one is grounded over to the dugout.
I was not hit with a live batted ball, but when we were doing our stuff pregame, my coach was throwing a couple baseballs.
I saw that. Count now 2-1 to Bailey. Stills righty on lefty matchup. 2-1 fastball misses outside. 3-1.
This is where Bailey makes his bread and butter. Hard throwing righties because he's a big, powerful guy. You can see the ball better out of the right-handed slot and just kind of get it in the air and use his power.
He's going to use his power and ground this one hard through the first and second base gap into right field. So leadoff single for the Westerners here in the 8th. Nice way to get things going. That's the first hit that Stills has given up on the mound.
Yeah, he had been fantastic, and he nearly made it an entire time through the order. I think he started with Justin Jordan, was his first batter to start the game, who he got swinging, and it made it through everyone but LaRusso and Bailey.
Went through 7 batters, didn't give up a hit. The only base runner was by virtue of an error. So now first pitch to LaRusso. Slider caught him looking for strike 1.
That may have even looked like a third pitch. That broke like a curveball.
It really did. A lot of movement. I know he throws the slider. He didn't tell me he throws a curve. I checked with him again after the game to make sure.
He could be just a variation of his slider, but in the early innings we saw him. The slider had a lot more sideways movement. This one kind of breaking with a little downward action.
Now that 0-1 fastball misses low. Ball 1 on the 1-1 now. Righty on righty matchup. Another fastball in the dirt. 2-1. Righty on righty matchup against LaRusso. He was the Big East Freshman of the Year at Villanova. Hit .302 this spring with a .408 on base. Now on the 2-1. Stills delivers. Fastball this time missing up. 3-1. So now for Stills. Back-to-back 3-1 counts, definitely a hitter's count. Not exactly what he's looking for here in the 8th. Especially down 2 runs. This is when he needs to get out of a jam, maybe force a double play. On the 3-1, another fastball over the heart of the plate. Count now full.
Nick LaRusso was actually born in the same hometown as Greg Cavalieri. He immediately, when he was born, was moved into Monroe, Connecticut. But I got to keep our connections going. They were born in the same hometown of Carmel, New York.
Now this is going to be fisted over into right field, over the head of Gustin, and Bosick fields it. But runners are on now first and second for the Westerners. So 2 leadoff men here for Danbury in the 8th get aboard. That'll bring up the first man to face Stills in tonight's game, Justin Jordan.
This is a situation where, in my mind, I'm contemplating a bunt. Jordan was obviously overpowered last time up, and he's got speed, so it's not even like it's necessarily a sacrifice bunt. He could lay down a bunt and very well beat it out. But if you can get second and third with 1 out here, and you got guys like Jay Curtis who already has a long ball, someone who can hit a sac fly to get any insurance you can. Analytically, it's not the move. I know that, and that's what they've been sticking to today.
And they do show bunt. He does not lay it down successfully. The throw to second from Bender. Nice stop there from Bellini covering the bag. They tried to throw behind Bailey.
Awful lot of moving parts on that play.
Yeah.
The backwards wheel looked like they ran, covering first and second instead of giving up third base on the bunt attempt.
James at third is just teetering on the edge of the grass. Bellini covering the bag at second. They show bunt again. He lays it down to James at third, charging. He throws to first. Not the greatest throw, and a diving Gustin can't get it. It leaks into right field. Bosick fields it. 1 run will come in to score for Danbury, and now they have runners on the corners with a 3-run lead. So I don't know. I think we're going to rule that one.
I'm thinking he may beat it. It depends.
I would like to look at the replay because it was an errant throw for sure.
Yeah,
now
we could cue if he would have beat it out or not, or how close.
If he would have beat it out, then certainly a single. If he wouldn't have beat it out,
it may just be my familiarity with the speed of Justin Jordan, thinking everything that's on the ground he beats out.
He does have some speed to him, no doubt about it. Now Jay Curtis settles in for Danbury. First pitch slider. Top of the zone for strike 1. They faked the steal to second to see what Bender would do, and he acted like he was going to throw behind the runner once he recognized it was a fake steal.
The Westerners have run this first and third play a couple times this year. I call it the Little League play is what I've been using on the broadcast, where you send the guy from first, get him in a pickle, and try and score the run. They've tried it 3 times. They've been successful twice.
And now they're throwing it down to second. Runner does go, but the throw's going to end up in center field. That's going to score a run. Gustin got taken out by the runner, and the runner, who is Jordan, is going to actually advance to third.
And LaRusso will score on that, so no need for the pickle, I guess.
So that is an E2, a bad throw from Bender behind the plate, something we are not accustomed to here. Gustin looks to be okay. But now there's a runner 90 feet from scoring, and of course Jordan at third. He's walking without a helmet, limping a tad, standing now on third base as time is called.
A collision with Gustin.
Yeah, Jordan got up and ran to third, looked fine, but now he is struggling a little bit. Now there's a meeting on the mound with pitching coach Greg Zachrison of Newport.
I think that was just the adrenaline. After the collision, getting up and running to third, you start to settle down, and then you're like, oh, my knee hurts or my leg hurts.
And
I just ran full speed into another human being.
He is bent over and holding on both knees. Now he's walking back to third base. You saw an arm warming up for Newport. I believe that was Jordan Marks. No, check that. That was Sam Jacobsack of Northeastern warming up for the Gulls. So, a lot of chaos happening here in the top of the 8th, but 2 runs have scored for Danbury. There is a runner on third, and at the plate still is Jay Curtis. And it is a 0-1 count?
1-1 count.
1-1 count. 1-1 count to Jay Curtis,
who just needs to put a ball in the air here to score. Jordan, a sac fly, does everything you ask.
And then that extends the lead even more. It's now 7-3 ball game. Westerners lead the Gulls.
Infield in now for the Gulls.
1-1 slider going to be flown deep into center. Walker going back, and it's going to be off the top of the fence. Karams towards left. Cavalieri with it. That will score the run easily. And Curtis is aboard second with a stand-up double. And you got a feel for him. That was nearly about a home run.
Nearly a second of the day.
That was about top of the fence as you could get here.
It's the one of come on, that's got to be any other ballpark, because that ball's carrying. That's the deepest part of the park, I think. Maybe the right center field out hook. But that ball hits, 3 feet from the top of the fence?
I mean, look at the camera work.
That hits the top sign. It's the Honda sign.
Sakuchi Honda.
And that's a tough look, but at the same time, I just had an RBI double. So how upset can Jay Curtis be?
It's this first pitch to Alex Bello. Fastball that misses up. Colton Bender couldn't get a clean glove on it. Goes off the top of it and into the backstop. So moving up to third is Jay Curtis on the wild pitch.
Bello reached on the error by Ryan Tours last time. This looks like you're going to make a pitching change on the Gulls.
So we assume it's going to be Sam Jacobsack, but we are not going to commit to that. We will have a new pitcher for Newport on the mound and more information on him coming up after the break here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. There is a new pitcher on the mound for Newport, and that new pitcher is Sam Jacobsack of Northeastern. He's already pitched once for Newport this summer. Pitched 2 innings against New Bedford in the first win of the year for the Gulls. 2 innings pitched, gave up 2 hits, no runs, while striking out 2 and giving up no walks. This spring for Northeastern, he had a 2-6 record, 5.34 ERA. Pitched 32 innings, gave up 27 runs, 19 earned runs, 37 strikeouts to 17 walks. So not a bad spring from Jacobsack, but for the Gulls, he's done really well in his one performance. First batter he's facing is Alex Bello.
Mid-count, too. It's a 1-0 count already to Bello.
Yeah, you don't see that often, but I think Winter Road saw that Stills was losing it, and he wanted to just make the change before it got any worse. As this 1-0 pitch, fastball misses low and away to Bello, 1-1.
You go from a short guy in Stills to a very tall guy in Jacobsack, same height as Justin Campbell, the Danbury starter, 6'5", out there on the bump.
Now this 1-0 catches the corner, low and away. Excuse me, 2-0. 2-1 now. Runner on third for the Westerners. They lead 8-3 over the Gulls. This 2-1 pitch fanned at the top edge of the zone, 2-2.
Bello just really struggling to pick up the ball out of the hands of everyone right now. Everyone goes through a slump, and he's more than capable to turn this around. It's early in the season. You said he had a 9-game hitting streak out South Florida, so he can definitely hit.
Now this 2-2 pitch, fastball just misses outside, so count now full. If you're the Westerners right now, you're up 8-3. You're at the bottom half of your lineup, but you have no outs in this inning. This is the chance to really pound it on.
And the infield is back, so Bello can even get an RBI on his stat sheet if he just hits a ground ball here.
And he does hit a ground ball, but it's going to tail foul along the third base line, so count remains full.
To do your job, it's surprising. When it was a 2-run ball game, or even the 3-run ball game, the infield was in, but at this point, I guess that Winter Road sees no difference between a 5-run and 6-run game.
Now on the full count pitch, fanned at the top edge of the zone for strike 3. First strikeout of the day for Jacobsack on the mound.
The third for Alex Bello on the evening.
Yeah, tough outing for Bello so far here tonight in Newport.
He and Chris Hamilton, one guy on each side, as the hat trick in strikeouts.
Not the title you want to hold, but
there's been a couple golden sombreros in the NECBL.
Yeah.
Up in Vermont. Vermont's had 2 of them already,
yeah.
The Mountaineers. Sean Flaherty had one against Danbury the other day.
It's a long season, and it'll happen, so. Now this first pitch to McCarthy, runs inside. Jacobsack covers on the wild pitch to tag. They're going to rule him safe. Not in time. Curtis just getting to home in time, underneath the tag nearly. So that'll extend the Westerners' lead.
It's a big guy coming at you from third. 6 foot 235 is Jay Curtis, who may have gotten the edge of his cleat in there before that
he
tag.
did. I think that's the right call. And we're going to rule that one a pass ball. I think that was a catchable one from Bender. Just off the tip of his glove. So now it's the 4th run of this inning to score for the Westerners as they extend their lead now.
Like a fresh inning now. Nobody on. Oh, there is one out.
So this
McCarthy and Bello really getting blown away by the fastball out of Jacobsack.
score is 9-3 Gulls trail. But you're right, Jacobsack coming into this game, another guy with a really nice fastball as he goes back to it, but this one misses for another ball in this count. 3-0 now to McCarthy. McCarthy on the day, 1 for 2, worked a walk in his first plate appearance, then singled and came around to score in the 5th before striking out in his last plate appearance in the 6th.
Just missed that fastball.
The 3-0 fastball up and fouled back into the screen. 3-1. It's a 9-3 ball game on a 3-0 count, and he's swinging out a fastball up. Aggressive at bat from McCarthy.
2-2 count now.
Both.
That was a 2-1 pitch, I believe. That's what the scoreboard says.
I think the scoreboard's lagging behind a little bit over there. 3-1. Now to McCarthy. He's going to foul this one back into the screen. So count now full either way.
2 pitches in a row then that McCarthy was really on, and it was a mix too. The fastball and the curveball really squared up nearly squared up both of them, just nicked underneath them.
Now the full count. This is okay. Now count is full. To McCarthy. My bad on that. Righty on righty matchup for Jacobsack on the mound. On the payoff pitch. Fastball that McCarthy thought missed out, but caught the outside edge for strike 3. So 2 batters that face Jacobsack, both down on strikeouts. And there's 2 away here in the 8th.
5th time through the order now for the Westerners. Barada only 1 hit on the day, and that was to start the ball game.
Another righty on righty matchup. First pitch to Barada, fastball in there for strike 1. And he's just pumping fastballs at this point. Jacobsack looking on out of the stretch, delivers one fastball that's going to be off the plate back to Jacobsack, but they're going to rule it foul. Might have bounced actually off of Barada.
I think it hit a couple of guys.
I thought so too.
Looked like it may have just deflected off the helmet is my initial thought. Or he hit it right into the ground off his hip.
Either way, 0-2.
And no matter what way you put it, it's a strike.
Yeah. Jacobsack will take it, although it would have been an easy play. I don't think he would have minded throwing it just to first for the last out of the inning.
I think Barada would have minded, though.
Now this pitch is going to be grounded over down the line at third. You hear the crack of the backstop and down the line at third as well, the wall. The all-wooden backstop and wall here at Cardines.
Barada clearly looking fastball there as he was ahead of it. Meanwhile, he was late on the first couple.
With the 0-2, might have to switch it up here. But Bender sets up high and they deliver a fastball high that misses up. Barada able to lay off the high cheese for ball 1. Jacobsack looking on. Delivers the 1-2 pitch that catches McCarthy swinging for strike 3, his 3rd strikeout. And as many batters face, but not before the Westerners score 4 in the 8th to take a 9-3 lead. 3 lead here going into the bottom of the 8th here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 8th, the Gulls trail 9-3 here in Newport. Danbury Westerners lead Stephen Huff alongside Jacob Kronberg, the voice of the Danbury Westerners, and Nick Bello, our very own field reporter for the Newport Gulls. And Nick, I'm going to turn to you, being the bottom of the 8th, for a look around the NECBL, some updated scoring and of tonight's games.
Thank you, Stephen. So we have Valley at Mystic, and they are all 9 at 6 in the bottom of the 8th. New Bedford is at Keene, and Keene leads 5-3 in the top of the 8th. Ocean State at Vineyard, 9-3 Ocean State, top of the 9th. Upper Valley at Vermont, 4-3 Upper Valley, top of the 8th. And might as well throw in a Bruins score update. 2-0 Blues. Second period about to begin here in Boston.
2-0 Blues. So
I'm sure our local fans aren't too happy about that score. I'm assuming it's Bruins territory here.
Yes.
Local fans not happy.
I'm not happy.
I'm from the Midwest. Do I have a say in this, or should I just keep quiet?
I am from New York, so I'm what they call impartial about this game.
Stephen.
Keep quiet?
Yes.
All right, I'll keep quiet in this one. I will have no take on the Bruins matchup. But a couple of close ones in the NECBL tonight.
Yes, some very close games tonight. Probably one of the first nights, too, where all games are being played.
Yeah.
No postponements tonight.
No
it's a positive.
Sorry, that's on us yesterday in the rain in New Bedford.
I wasn't blaming anybody.
We were the lone. It wasn't at our home field. It wasn't at Rogers Park. It was at Paul Walsh Field in New Bedford.
The Gulls will, I say we, be up there later this week. Actually, tomorrow, being Thursday, back in New Bedford, as this first pitch to Bender misses up for ball 1. Next pitch to Bender, fastball flown out of play behind the stadium for strike 1. Danbury traveling this week.
We're actually coming back home. We were supposed to be on the road yesterday. We're on the road today, obviously. We go back home to take on the Vermont Mountaineers, who we played over the weekend. A lot of rain in the forecast, though, so don't. But actually, you can blame it on us tomorrow if it gets rained out with an off day Friday.
To Bender, flown into the left center gap, and it's going to drop in front of a trailing Zaffino. So Bender is aboard with a leadoff single.
Bender has been on base all 4 times today. Definitely the bright spot of the Newport Gulls offense. He's got 2 singles, a double, and a walk, and he continues to use all the fields.
And he put it into the right center gap, as you said, the first time, all sides of the field. Then he pulled it down the line. That one left center gap. Will we give it to him for the hat trick? Center field?
The center fielder didn't field it.
All right.
So I still think left center. Close enough. He's got 2.5 of the hat trick.
2.5. As Tours settles in for the Gulls. First pitch bounces off the plate. Ceruto keeps it in front enough so Bender can't steal.
Tours went down swinging last time up. He was the last guy that starter Justin Campbell faced. Went down on that big hook to end the bases loaded jam. The second bases loaded jam that the Westerners had to escape.
Tours is 0 for 3 on the day, but did reach base in the 4th on an error. Righty on lefty matchup. 1-0 pitch, fastball in there for strike 1.
Boric still on the mound here for his 3rd inning of work.
And he's looked solid doing so.
For a guy who didn't get to throw many innings in the spring, is making his summer innings well worth the time.
Now Tours swings and misses at a fastball up. 1-2.
Boric sits around 90 to 92, 89 to 92 in that range. Definitely can hit a couple 9s on there. He said he hit a 4 once in the spring season. And for those of you at home don't know all the baseballers, that's 94 miles an hour. Decently hard-throwing right-hander out of Eastern Kentucky.
Decently.
Well, you got guys now throwing 100 miles an hour in the majors.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
That's hard. If that's the new standard of hard.
Now this 1-2 pitch. Fastball misses outside 2-2. At this level, though, that is really impressive.
I wish I could throw 90 miles an hour. I'd be out there.
I wish I could hit the 80s.
Wish I could hit the 70s. Wasn't much of a pitcher back in the heyday.
Oh, man. So now this 2-2 to Tours. Pitch off the plate. Another good block from Ceruto.
My talent level more slow pitch softball now. That's where the talent level stands.
You don't have to move as fast. I identify with that as well. Count now full for Tours. Righty on lefty matchup. Boric looking on, delivers 3-2 ball that's fouled off of Ceruto. And it looks to be off the same exact fingers that it is off the same fingers that he was struggling with earlier.
He's also frustrated that he couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, nearly did. Nearly gloved it. That would have been for strike 3 and an out on Tours. He's now wearing a glove on that hand. He wasn't earlier, but after taking the foul ball off it, he is now.
Any extra padding's going to help.
Yeah. He looks to be okay, and so we're back ready for action. Full count. Gulls trail the Westerners 9-3. Payoff pitch, catches Tours swinging for strike 3, but Bender takes off for second, and he is safe. So stolen base for Bender. So now there's a runner in scoring position for the Gulls.
Little surprised that Boric didn't at least step off, if not throw over there, because in those 3-2 situations when you're going to be forced to the next base, you're running. And I think everyone in the building knew that Bender was going to take off there. He had a decent-sized lead as well. I'm surprised Boric didn't step off and kind of make him try all over again.
Yeah, I didn't even pay almost any attention to Bender.
Barely gave him a glance.
Yeah. Now Bender at second, but offers to Zaid at the plate. He flies one into right, and a diving play nearly from McCarthy, but it's going to trickle out of his glove. Bender rounding third, gunning for home. The play at the plate, there isn't one as Bender steps on the plate for the next Gulls run. And that's an RBI single from Zaid Walker.
His first base knock of the evening.
I thought nearly we might have a play at the plate, but Bender just beat the throw in time.
I think what made that play at the plate really tough is the fact that Vinny Bailey is left-handed. So
yeah,
you field that ball and you have to make a
turn.
Full turn, 270-degree turn instead of just the quick movement and turning glove side. I don't think he was expecting a play at the plate initially. He wasn't really out there ready for the cutoff.
It seemed like he looked, then saw he had a chance, then had to have a long turn to home. So the long process scored the run for the Gulls here in the bottom of the 8th. Now it's a 9-4 ball game. First pitch to Austin James in there for strike 1. Runner on first for Newport. James on the day 1 for 3, but he has reached base twice. Singled and scored in the 3rd. Struck out swinging in the 4th, and then reached on an E5 in the 6th. Righty on righty matchup for Boric on the mound. On the 0-1. Fastball misses low.
Going back to the McCarthy effort, we've seen both right fielders now today have a play, have a chance at that Sports Center play on a diving effort, and both of them got there and were unable to hold on.
Yeah, but both of them
difficult plays.
Difficult plays, making great efforts, and at least keeping it in front of them, too, because if they don't keep it in front of them, runners are running free.
Yes, Walker's on third base.
So now the 1-1. Runs up and in on James. 2-1. Yeah, with Walker's speed, I mean, he's flying, and he's at least on third at that point. So count now 2-1 to Austin James. Boric looking on. Zaid on first. Boric not looking over at Walker. Delivers. Walker takes off for second, but it's going to be fouled behind the plate. So we'll go again with a 2-2 count. And we're seeing Boric as he goes on. Maybe it's because of the lead they have, but they're not paying any attention, Danbury isn't, to any of the Newport runners.
Yeah, they're just kind of letting them go at will, and either, right and it's a score, or they really just trust the arm of Ceruto behind the plate, but the Gulls have swiped a handful of bags so far today. It's usually the Westerners' game.
And the runner on first, Zaid Walker, has plenty of speed. He's known as a 5-tool player, so they're going to let him run if he wants to. So now this 2-2 pitch, James, half-hearted swing for strike 3 at a pitch in the dirt. So two
nice
away here.
Change up there and buried it in the dirt.
Caught James out in front, kind of fooled him, really. Second strikeout of the day for Boric on the mound, second in this inning.
Boric does this grip with his changeup. It's a standard changeup grip, 3-fingered. Not much of a circle change, but he puts a lot of pressure on his ring finger, he showed me, which gives it a lot of downward tilt, a little more down than tail out that you were used to. and it kind of even cuts in when normal changeups break.
Cavalieri puts a charge into this one in center field, but a nice diving play from Jordan in center. They're going to say he held on for a nice play to end the inning. So 1 run will score for Newport in the 8th as they leave one stranded. Heading into the 9th, they trail 9-4. Top of the 9th here in Newport. 2-3-4 hitters due up for Danbury. As Sam Jacobsack is still on the mound for the Gulls. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg, Nick Bello, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls. Matt Zaffino will lead things off for Danbury.
Luke Brown, actually. Remember, Luke came in to pinch hit last
Luke Brown,
time.
you're right. Luke Brown pinched hit in the 7th, went down swinging in his only plate appearance.
His first NECBL plate appearance. He was up in the Cape for a couple of days as a temporary player for the Wareham Gatemen. And something funny about Wareham, they actually have a stone infield. You don't see it very often. And Luke was telling me, I think every time I slid and tried to steal, I just ripped and lost a pair of pants. He's like, I've never felt worse trying to steal a base.
It's his first pitch to Brown. It swung at and missed for strike 1. That reminds me, back in the day, growing up in the neighborhood, you would play neighborhood baseball with a tennis ball, of course. This first, one pitch swung at and missed for strike 2.
Even stick ball of some sort.
Yeah, you'd play in the cul-de-sac or the circle in the neighborhood, of course, on asphalt. Or so if you had that one kid that went and decided to slide at on the concrete, he was really hurting.
He called that the try-hard.
Now there's 0-2 from
You definitely
Jacob
paid
Sack.
for it.
Runs inside, 1 and 2. I can't imagine that being your everyday infield, though. Stone.
It's kind of gravelly, not
Right,
as much stone,
right.
but still, it's no dirt, it's no turf. The incredible home field advantage, though.
Oh, I imagine. Imagine playing the hops of the ground balls every day. You definitely get a feel for it as Jacob Sack catches Brown looking for strike 3. 4th strikeout of the day for Jacob Sack. He's seen 4 batters, and he's sent all of them back to the dugout by virtue of the strikeout.
Ceruto went down swinging his last time up. It's been strikeouts galore for the bullpen, I feel. Even the starters had a handful.
So Ceruto at the dish now. Of course, he did strike out his last time, but we talked about it earlier. One of the star players for Danbury this season, but even today, too. He watches this first pitch fastball over the heart of the plate for strike 1. You mentioned a lot of these guys striking out today, though. So 1 pitch going to be popped into the infield. 2 infielders for the Gulls coming over for it, but James, natural shortstop, taking command from third base for out number 2.
Almost sounded like a bit of a broken bat on that one.
It really did.
That one might be going to firewood.
Keep them warm on the bus ride home, but you mentioned a lot of strikeouts today. Danbury's gone down 14 times swinging, but they still lead this game 9-4.
I mean, we talked about in the open, this is a team that leads the league in home runs. They extended their lead today, and in 2019 baseball, what comes with home runs is a lot of strikeouts.
This first pitch to Bailey misses outside 1-0. And you think about baseball in general in this era. It's home runs, walks, and strikeouts. Now this one's going to be lined over past the pitcher and in center field for a 2-out single from Bailey, second single of the day.
And, of course, Bailey, who's known for his power, a couple one-base hits. It's a funny game.
Yeah.
But like you said, in the major leagues now, you got guys who strike out 180, 200 times, and it's just regarded as the same as another out.
And they're okay with that, the teams are, because they know what they bring to the table on the other.
Joey Gallo hits like 196, hits 40 home runs, strikes out 200 times, and everyone wants Joey Gallo.
This first pitch breaking ball to LaRusso is in there for strike 1. And on top of it right now, I think he has an exit velo off the bat of 96, 97.
Yeah, it's one of the top 10 in the league. He's second.
I think he leads the league right
He's
now.
second in all of Major League Baseball in home runs per at-bat. He's right behind Gary Sanchez and the Yankees.
Now this one pitch, another breaking ball in there for strike two. So Jacob Sack coming with fastballs early on, and now he's come back with 2 straight breaking balls to lead off LaRusso. Now he comes back with another, but it drops out of the zone for strike one, or ball one, excuse me.
A couple of these guys hit a home run I think it's every 8.9 at-bats for Gary Sanchez, which is just absurd.
Unimaginable. This 1-2 fastball catches LaRusso looking for strike 3. That is the 5th strikeout of the day for Jacob Sack, and that'll end things here in the top of the 9th for Danbury. Heading into the bottom of the 9th, it's the last chance for the Gulls as they trail Danbury 9-4 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. So it's the last chance for the Gulls here in the bottom of the 9th, and their top of the lineup is due up for the Gulls as they trail 9-4 against Danbury Westerners, but they will be facing a new pitcher on the mound for Danbury.
Yes, that is Joe Vale out of Division II Lemoyne College, one of the better Division II programs in the country. They produced a compensation round draft pick just 2 years ago in Josiah Gray, and Joe Vale now on the pitching staff there, along with a couple other guys who are in the NECBL. Ryan Murphy up at Vermont pitched the other day against the Westerners. He's on that pitching staff, but Joe Vale, a left-handed arm, throws in the upper 80s speed-wise, and he had an okay year. Not as good as his freshman year at Lemoyne. He had a 5.86 ERA, was 3-5. He threw 55 innings, though. They work those guys at the Division II level. The thing about him on the mound is he does a lot of things on his own. Strikes out just over a batter an inning, struck out 60 guys in 55 innings. But he also walked 51 batters in 55 innings. So it's a lot. I don't know if you can have isolation ball in baseball, but it seems like that's some of it. He's got a big hook to go along with his fastball, and that's kind of where he sits. And that's your little rundown on Joe Vale. He played against Upper Valley, pitched an inning and 2/3, gave up a couple hits. He had a strikeout, but no runs in his debut against the Nighthawks. This is just his second appearance. He and Nick Borak were actually the 2 relievers that appeared in that game, so maybe manager Josh Parrow has something he likes to do with hard-throwing Borak, followed by a little softer-throwing lefty Joe Vale. Maybe that'll be a combination you see out of the pen for time to come for Danbury. It's still early to tell if that's the case, though, but Vale about to make his second appearance in the season here, trying to close things out for the Westerners over the Gulls.
And then facing off against him sounds like a decent pitcher. What you want from him, though, is limiting those walks moving forward. Right?
Obviously. Got to cut those down. 1-to-1 ratio, or near 1-to-1. It's unacceptable.
Facing off against him in the Gulls lineup will be the top of the lineup, Jake Gustin, the rising sophomore from Bryant. What I like about Gustin, he hit 287 this spring for Bryant, but coming out of high school just a year ago, won the Northeastern Conference batting title as a senior with a .529 batting average. His final 2 seasons in high school, get this, fellas, struck out only 5 times.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Talk about putting the ball in play.
Now this lefty-on-lefty matchup.
Doesn't match up very well with Joe Vale.
First pitch misses low for ball 1. Gustin against Vale, lefty-on-lefty matchup. On the 1-0. Another pitch misses low. 2-0. Gustin has not faced a left-handed pitcher this year for the Gulls. He's going to line this one into left. That'll be the first hit against the lefty in his first plate appearance. Not a bad way to start his Newport summer against left-handers.
Nice little 3-for-5 day for Gustin as well. 3 singles.
He's a guy that started the year batting second. They dropped him into the 9-hole because they kind of wanted to spark the end of the lineup as it turned over. We talked about that with Cavalieri's role, but batting leadoff today, he's certainly making a name for himself.
He's got a great first name as well, in my opinion.
That'll bring up Joey Bellini after you pushing your ballot for best name here. First pitch to Bellini, corner low and away for strike 1.
I said it was a great name.
It was a great name. I'll give you that. You're right.
It was the most used name for boys in America for years. So it's pretty common.
You're doing something right. Is this?
Maybe I say great. Maybe it should be basic.
Yeah, well, that's it. 2 ways to look at it. Perception. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. This 0-1 pitch fouled back into the screen, 0-2. Runner on first, Gulls trail 9-4 here in the bottom of the ninth. Bellini's going to fly this one up over the bleachers and into Newport once again.
Downtown gets a lot of foul balls here.
Yeah.
A lot of souvenirs, so you don't even have to pay to the game, come to the game for your souvenir.
Yeah, and you think about some of these houses beyond the fences here have great seats, really.
They do, but Cameron Cerruto may have broken their window.
This 0-2 pitch going to be flown into center, but Jordan settles underneath it for out number 1. Not a bad piece of hitting from Bellini, but just got underneath it. Jordan, good
believe
center
Justin
fielder.
Jordan checked out of the game, actually. That looks like a right-handed arm to me, and I think it's Luke Brown who was plugged in center field.
So Luke Brown, who pinch hit for Zaffino, who was the left fielder.
And then Lyndon Weaver in the game and left is what it looks like from out here. Maybe we can get a camera zoomed in on it to check.
So we got some defensive subs that we missed out on at the top of the inning. So that was Luke Brown, the earlier pinch hitter, moving into center as this first pitch to Chris Hamilton in their first strike 1.
Luke Brown, a natural center fielder. That's his primary position, and it's definitely Luke Brown in center field. And
number 32, yep.
And Lyndon Weaver, number 3 and right, another Eastern Kentucky guy.
So this first 0-1 pitch, to Hamilton ends up at the backstop. And moving up to second is Jake Gustin.
Yeah, Lyndon Weaver, another speedster in the outfield.
I was going to say, your guys' team, I was looking at it, speed everywhere. On the bench, starting in the lineup, every single guy has incredible stolen base numbers.
It seems to be what they built the team around, which may seem surprising to some considering how Rogers Park adheres to power hitting. But the power's really stepped up for Danbury so far to start the season as well.
Now the 1-1 to Hamilton. Swung at and missed, 1 and 2. But if you think about it, maybe with your guys' park, the power is going to come no matter what, so you don't have to worry about the power, and maybe working around speed is the smart thing to do.
A couple fly balls are going to turn into long balls. The base is the same length everywhere. It's 90 feet that you got to run each time.
Now the 1-2 to Hamilton, swung at and missed for strike 3.
That's a golden sombrero for Chris Hamilton tonight.
Golden sombrero. He was 0 for 5 at the plate with 4 strikeouts.
He really struggled to see the ball out of the left-handed arms. It was Justin Campbell who was responsible for the first 3, and then Joe Vale here. And the one time he put a real charge into it, his last at-bat was against the righty, Nick Borek.
So tough day for Hamilton at the plate. That'll bring up Brett Vosick, another left-hander for the Gulls. He sees this first pitch in there for strike 1. Vosick 1 for 3 on the day, singled and scored in the 4th, and also was hit by a pitch in the 5th. On the 0-1, Gustin takes off for third. No throw down, not even a look.
Defensive indifference or stolen base? What do we rule that here? I know they have it in the major leagues, defensive indifference. We're going to be nice and give him a stolen base.
The pitch was a strike to Vosick, for those wondering. I'm assuming the score was just going to give him a stolen base. We'll check with the score after the game. As this 0-2 to Vosick. Off speed, it's going to catch him looking for strike 3, and that will end things here in Newport. So Danbury wins by a score of 9-4. Stick with us, though. We're going to have the pregame show coming up in just a moment here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. So the Gulls lose to Danbury 9-4 in this one. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg, and the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. So Newport fell 9-4. Art Hoven started for the Gulls, went 5 innings pitched, gave up 8 hits, 5 runs, 5 of them earned, 6 strikeouts along the way while walking 2. Mackenzie Stills relieved him with 3 innings pitched, gave up a couple hits as he went along the way, especially in the 8th inning when he started to get tagged a little bit, gave up 4 runs, 2 of them earned in that inning. And then Sam Jacobsack rounded things out, including 5 strikeouts for him. Successful day for them pitching on the mound. Hitting-wise for the Gulls, they really started to come alive in the middle innings, the 3rd innings. They came and scored 2 runs in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and then just tacked on 1 run in the 8th. But it was too little too late for them as they fell behind by virtue of really the home run.
Yeah, the home run played a big role today. It started everything off. It was Jay Curtis the fourth, a big 2-run shot. They had put the Westerners up 2-0, but the goals didn't go away. They took the lead back 3-2, and then the home run struck again. It was the other catcher for Danbury, Cameron Cerruto, who hit a massive home run for a 3-run shot. That brought the lead back to the Westerner side, and they didn't give it up after that. They scored a couple runs excess after that. Jay Curtis nearly hit a second one, hit it off the Honda sign on the 28-foot fence, deep left center field. So it was the power of Danbury that really helped them come out in front, and it was the deciding factor in this one for sure, Stephen.
So some of the highlighted players for Danbury, Cameron Cerruto stuck out to me. Jay Curtis, of course, those were the guys with the long ball, so they really put some charges into it. Jay Curtis with the one to left, Cameron Cerruto also down the line and left, really putting some charges into these balls and getting these balls out of there in a hurry.
Yeah, I agree. Those are definitely the two guys offensively who stood out today. You have Nick LaRusso had a couple hits, Vinny Bailey had a couple hits, but I want to look to the defensive side and the pitching particularly. Only 4 runs. One of them was unearned, I believe. I think there were a couple errors behind them. But Nick Borek out of the pen was fantastic. Gave up 1 run in his 3 innings of work. Coming out of the pen, taking over for Justin Campbell, who was fairly good on the mound, too. These are a bunch of relievers who strung together a 9-inning game, only took 3 guys. And then Joe Vale came in and shut the door rather stressless, with lack of stress.
Certainly, yeah.
So it was a good day all around for the Westerners as they improved to 5-0, and you just physically can't ask for a better start to the season if you're a Danbury fan.
So Joe Vale came in, you said shut the door, 1 innings pitched, gave up a hit while striking out 2. Nick Borek, 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, given up 1 run. There was an earned run while striking out 2 as well. So they racked up the strikeouts. They had 12 strikeouts on the day for Danbury, while on the flip side, Newport had 15 strikeouts. So both teams racking up the strikeouts, but it really just came down to the long balls and one team hitting better than the other.
Half the outs in this game were strikeouts.
Half the outs were strikeouts.
27 of 54 if you put both teams together.
Incredible pitching performances, but like I said, one team hitting better than the other. So we're going to let you off the hook. I know you got a bus to catch with the team, 2.5 hours back, and then you got an hour drive back to your house.
It's not a close trip, but I'm happy to be here. Happy to come here anytime you guys will have me here in Newport.
Well, safe travels. I know we're going to be back together soon.
We've got 4 more games. We think we see you Saturday. I think you guys come to us Saturday.
We will see you soon at least. So for the voice of the Danbury Westerners, thank you for joining us. That was Jacob Kronberg. Have safe travels back, and we'll see you soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Fantastic day on the call with you, Stephen.
We will see him soon. Good luck to the Danbury Westerners the rest of the way as they improve to 5-0. What's going to happen? I'm going to send it over to Nick Bello as he's going to wrap things up for us, as he's going to take a look around the league and fill us in on how things turned out in the NECBL.
Thank you, Stephen. A few games still going on in the NECBL right now. So in the bottom of the 9th, we have a 6-6 tie between Valley and Mystic, and we also that's the only game going on right now. And Ocean State beating Vineyard 9-3. New Bedford following the Keene 5-3, and Upper Valley beating Vermont 4-3. As Steven said, Newport falls to 2-3 as Danbury's undefeated streak keeps moving on. They are 5-0 in NECBL and are in the first place of the Southern Division. Final score again from Newport was 9-4. Art Hoven saddled with the loss as Justin Campbell will pick up the win for Danbury. Another unfortunate loss here on the home at Cardines Field, the home field of the Newport Gulls, where he had a great pitching performance again by Art Hoven. It's just the bats couldn't keep up with Danbury, and as a result, the bullpen kind of faltered too, with a couple of home runs later on in the game, leading to a 9-4 loss for the Gulls. The Gulls will head to New Bedford tomorrow for a 6:30 start time against the Whalers. New Bedford currently sits at 0-5, actually 0-6 now with the loss tonight. To Keene, so they are 0-6 now at the bottom of the Southern Division. As we will be waiting for Steven soon. A little update on the Bruins game too, if you were wondering. 2-0 Blues still with 5:30 left in the second. As we wrap things up here in the city by the sea. Steven, I'm going to send it down to you. Take it away.
Thanks. The Newport fell tonight 9-5 to Danbury Westerners, dropping to 2-3 on the season. But they will be back in action in New Bedford as they take on the New Bedford Bay Sox for the second time on the year. I'd like to thank, though, our executive producer and director, Tom Lima, producer Shannon Carlson, audio technician Rob Sanchez, on-site engineer Zach Letson, camera operator Shayna Wintraub, Arthur Smith, and social media coordinator John Semino, and our field reporter Nick Bello, and the voice of the Danbury Westerners, Jacob Kronberg. I'm the voice of the Newport Gulls, Stephen Huff, saying goodnight from the city by the sea.